All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com. And please take a moment and do it now.
Do it now.
All right, everybody. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flipside in the category of politics and news. News on the Flipside is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flipside in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
And get your ass out there and vote. Don't even get me started on this. I'm telling you, people. You know, I told y'all last year I brought my hack tracer and I hacked everybody's IP. I know where y'all all live now. Okay.
No, you're literally spamming everybody right now.
You know, do not make y'all ever see there's a YouTube video where the guy says, if you don't push this button to subscribe, a centipede's going to crawl on your face. Look, I know where y'all are now. So, okay, we're going to play dirty here. I just warning y'all ahead of time.
Right.
Look.
No one takes trophy.
You know, well, like they said last 2 years, so runner-up's great, and you can get a trophy for runner, but I don't want to be runner-up. I'm a bad loser, people. God. And you look, and how long I warned y'all last 3 years. I bitched the whole entire. It's a good thing I won best local broadcaster because that kind of saved some of y'all. But still, I want to win. John and I need matching trophies so y'all can see them when we're on air like this. And mine can be right here, so he can be right there. Yes.
Yep.
And we get if the girls get one, they can be up there with them. So they'll have to have 2 because then Amelia's going to want her own. Yes. We got a lot to talk about tonight, and I got to get these guys rolling because they have a life. I have a life, and we have poor Jason down here has no idea what he got himself into tonight.
That's true. That's true.
He's like, this is definitely different. Okay. Anyway, let me calm down here. So y'all know the Goodwins. They're regulars. They come and hang out with us from time to time. Right now, we're on Podcast Awards, so they'll be with us the next few weeks. As you hear me moan, groan, bitch, and gripe about I won an award. Also, of course, you will hear later in the show, you will hear local news and what's going on worldwide. All the wonderful things that's going on, from submarines blowing up to people flying across the planet with just a piece of paper. I can't wait to read that story. Yes, there's just a weirdness going on across the planet right now. And I love to be alive right now. I was thinking the other day, a friend of mine said, wouldn't you like to have been alive in the past? Well, the past would have been cool, but I'm enjoying right now in the present. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but I'm enjoying. But we have Jason Palmatier with us tonight, and I really want to get in to talk to him tonight because it's really his time right now. And I still, Jackie, shut up, okay? You two up there, hush up. You see the abuse I have to take. You see,
say anything.
I get abused. It's like yes, people. Yeah, I agree. See, even the chat said yes. I get abused. I know. I feel so used and abused sometimes. I'm telling y'all what. Jason, don't make me. Anyway, welcome to the show. See, you should come on Wednesdays. It's quieter and more peaceful in the Wednesday show because we're just talking. Fridays, there's always craziness going on. So, first question right off the bat. I know. So, what made you decide to submit anything to Writers of the Future? I mean, I ask this all the time because I'm always curious, and I almost always get a different answer. So, I'm curious. I mean, what was it one day you were just sitting there saying, first off, where'd you see it at? I mean, were you just reading a book, caught an ad, seen something in the back of a magazine?
Yeah, actually, my first exposure to it was probably about 13, 14 years ago. And my older brother, who was a writer at the time, I said I wanted to start writing, and he suggested Writers of the Future because I was like, oh, I'll write novels. And he's like, well, why don't you start with short stories? And he said Writers of the Future because since it's quarterly, you have a deadline.
Yes. 3
months you can enter. So he's like, well, then try to write a short story every 3 months, enter the contest. And so I actually did that in the very beginning for, 5 or 6 stories or 6 in a row. And then I had a friend who I knew back in high school or whatever, who'd moved to LA, and he said, oh, yeah, you want to write? Well, let's write screenplays. So I went and started that with him, and that got me off track. And so then I ended up doing that, and then some comic book stuff and some other stuff. And then my older brother started a small press called Zombie Needs Brains, and he submission. So he said, oh, send some stories. He opened submission. So that's when I got back into writing short stories, and most of them got rejected, but he published a couple of them. And then when Writers of the Future, I was still on the mailing list 14 years later, and I just got an email from Joni, and I had a short story that I shopped around a little bit and hadn't gotten any takes on. So I said, well, I'm going to submit it. And so I submitted it. It was the first short story I'd written, not for my brother's small press in years. And I just came away from a con. It was DisCon 3 in DC. And I wrote it for another sci-fi fantasy magazine, and they passed on it. So I submitted a couple other places, and they passed. And so then when I saw Joni's email, she had all 3 days left, get your story in. I'm like, so I just submitted it, and then kind of forgot about it. So when Joni called me, I was a little confused because when she first said her name, something happened in the background, so I couldn't hear her name. So I didn't know who it was. So for like 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, kind of talking to her. And then I finally figured out, oh, this is Joni from Writers of the Future. And that's when she told me I was a finalist. So, yeah, I had a sort of a long history, but a big gap in the middle where I didn't really do a whole lot of short story writing. So,
well, no, because I've talked to a lot of people, and anywhere from 5 to 15 to 30. 15 submissions seems to be kind of average before somebody wins. Okay. But there have been some that are earlier, some that were much later. We're not going to get into that. But there have been some that have been, 40, 50. But, hey, I'd say keep going until you win. Mm-hmm. That you heard me tonight bitching about this podcast award. Yeah, see, I segued that right in there. I want my damn award.
I'm not keep track. There's one.
That's one. So it's so I mean, but so I know I've asked everybody about Joni's call. The first call y'all get is from Joni, and we know Joni's very high energy. But so when you realize it's her, what are you thinking? Okay, do I have a shot? Maybe you think the story's good enough. Am I going to get to go hang out with all these crazy people in LA, which they're all great people, but we're using the term crazy tonight. Because there's just so much energy there. I mean, it's just nonstop. It's if you know, hold on for a segue. You know what, Donna? I agree with him. You do look like the guy from Hero, from Spock. You do look like this guy a lot. They got a conversation. Yeah, they got a conversation going in a chat group about you.
That's funny.
Like Spock.
I used to get told I look like Tom Cruise, but it's been a long time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the hair and the glasses. I agree. He does.
Without the glasses.
I don't know. What do y'all think?
No, still not.
I don't know.
I think it's age.
Don't ask me. Like, first off, I wanted to know why the conversation went there.
Yeah.
You just got to wonder. So now you've won. So they're flying you out. You get out to LA. What do you think? Have I lost my mind? I mean, because it's a pretty tough schedule they got going on out there.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the weird thing is you're flying on a plane to LA, and then you're looking out over the desert, and then LA like emerges from the mist, and then you like land, and you're like, when am I really here? And then they pick you up and get to the hotel, and it's kind of like you said, it's a whirlwind in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Really let up, actually. I mean, it's pretty fast paced for the whole week.
Yeah.
And it's just very strange to meet all these people that you like heard about over the years, and now you're like, oh, I'm saying hello to them in a room, and they're gonna teach me stuff for a whole week, and it was really cool. And it was actually really cool to meet John and Emily and stuff too, because you've seen them, because you've been with Writers of the Future, you know them, so then they're there in the room.
They're kind of like the Phantoms, man. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're like, whoosh,
right.
And after a certain day, I'm not gonna say which one it is. You don't even see Emily until late at night, so it's one of them things. She's like, everybody's like, "Where's Emily?" I said, "You'll see her later on. Just hang out. She'll be around sooner or later."
I'm usually at the event hall getting ready.
She's
right.
Well, no, because I mean they're all nonstop. Everybody there is nonstop. I mean, it's never let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. It's like. So I got two. First, let's start with the reveal. So when you first see the artwork for your story, what do you think?
Oh, I literally walked in the door and I saw it was right in the middle.
I got you on video. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, that's got to be it." But nobody told us before we left the room. They said, "Oh, go find your artwork or whatever." They didn't tell us we're supposed to like pick it up and take it over to the artist. And so I didn't know if I was supposed to touch it. And so I walked in and I saw it. I was like, "That's great." And then the artists were on the side, and I guess we're supposed to pick it up and take it over to him. So when Helen didn't see me pick it up and take it over, she's like, "Oh no, he doesn't like it." She was like worried about that, and I'm like, so I walked over to her and I saw her. I was like, "Oh, I think I know which one it is, but I'm going to look at them all and everything." And then later somebody whispered, "Oh, we're supposed to pick him up." So I'm like, "Oh," I took it over, and then she was cool because it was great. And in fact, she did a great job of sort of capturing this idea of in the story of reality. There, we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that.
It's kind of cyberpunk, and she has some people it's subtle, but if you look, some of the people in the foreground and stuff are actually kind of transparent. You can see through them, and there's a lot of information. There's like little info cards and stuff.
It was one of my favorite pieces, but I said, well, that one's going to win. Yeah, okay, I was wrong, but still.
Yeah,
I have 4 years I not got, or four different times I not got one right yet. I'm like, come on, man, I'm cursed here.
And I like the colors too. I'm good at like bright colors, and so seeing that
gave me the like theme punk like Tokyo theme. I don't know. It was just something about it that reached out and kind of smacked me into the scene itself. And don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of them, and I've talked to a lot of the artists there, so I liked a lot of them, including what's his name. What was it? Death of a Taxman. What the hell was that one? And I just like that piece of art because it just kind of just fit the story. You're like, wow, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there he is, the Jedi with the sickle. Yes,
that guy is great.
It was great. I mean, all of that stuff is really great, and it's well, what is that, Carl? No, you got to win, so that's the only way you can go. That's all you can do is win. Yes. What do you mean? Oh, because okay, I'll tell her. Hold on. So the other night I said, if you want to try to win a story, and you want to try to bribe someone, send Emily a box full of Canadian chocolate, and maybe you'll have a chance. And they were like, really? Wait, they took it serious. They're like, really? No. I said, no, people. I said, she'd appreciate the chocolate, mind you, but still, it's not going to help.
We never see the stories.
I know, that's what I told them.
Stories
Oh, that's true.
afterwards. Like once the judges are completed and they've been selected, then we get to see them. We don't see them until after they've been through the judging.
Said echo the chocolate. Yes.
But you can send me chocolate anyway. Really Canadian chocolate's all good.
Yes, but it was
Is that
funny.
regular chocolate but with maple syrup added? Is that like what's the difference?
They send all kinds. Well, we got a friend, a host of ours on the network who likes to send Canadian chocolate out. And last time she sent me, I thought she was going to send like, a box of chocolate. She sends like 10 pounds of chocolate to my house. All kind of different stuff. I'm like, Amelia, what the hell is this? And I was, I'm trying to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, there's chocolate area. And they actually had some salted caramel. There's all kind of flavors. I know we're way off track here, but I did notice that there were a lot of the candies were similar. But they were good.
Self.
I'm just trying to help these people, Maybe if we send this guy from podcast some Canadian chocolate, I'm gonna ask Amelia tomorrow. You send this guy some chocolate. What's that? No, we're not sending all y'all chocolate. Y'all crazy. Maybe y'all can win some later in the year or something. I got to go to Canada later in the year. Maybe y'all can win some. So you see the reveal and all. You're there. I know you're running back and forth. So. How was the judges? Are they accessible to you? I know because they invited a lot of people to lunches and stuff. And so, I mean, how did you feel about just hanging out with them, being able to talk to them, just kind of being able to bend their ear? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I went to lunch with, let's see. Well, actually, I missed one lunch with Robert J. Sawyer. I did miss that lunch. But Tim Powers, I went to lunch with a couple times. He goes to the same restaurant every time. Yeah. So you got to, 2 lunches there, and then I was like, I got to go somewhere else. And then I didn't get to talk to Jody until the very end. I did want to talk to her more because she does a lot of humor writing. And that's most of my writing is actually humor writing, but the story I entered for this contest wasn't. So I didn't get to talk to her as much as I wanted, but when I did talk to her, it was quite informative. And I have to say, it would have been nicer to talk to some of the people who were in there just for like a, hour session, but because of the way the schedule worked, we just didn't really, there wasn't like a hangout time. But I did get to talk to Larry Elmore, on the art side of things at lunch. I didn't realize it was Larry Elmore. I was just like, he was just chatting to me and I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's telling me about his printing business. And then sometime later, somebody said, yeah, I'm so glad Larry's here this year. And I'm like, Larry Elmore, like the D&D guy? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, he's over there. I'm like, oh, I talked to that guy in 20 minutes. So then I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
Larry's great, man. Larry's great. He's a bad influence now. He's a bad influence.
I know. Yeah, he had some stories.
Yes, he's a bad influence, especially on me, man. He's bad. I told him because he was just on last week with Apple. And I was like, Larry, you're just a bad influence. He said, I know, man.
Sounds like it's like rock stars and Larry have the same Larry's working ethic. Like he was like, I just worked 20 hours a day and I would slam coffee and I would do, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then he was like, then he had his triple bypass surgery or whatever it was. And then he said, then I stopped that. I was like, I'm glad you did. And but the stuff he produced.
He didn't have to see you wouldn't. He would just like paint that's all he loved. He just loves to paint. He just.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you this. The man got more energy than I do. He was out with myself, Tom Wood, Dan DeSantis, April, Nancy, and there was 2 others with us. And we walked all the way around. We walked all the way over to Author Services. We were taking pictures over there. We went and stopped at the Roosevelt and caught some burlesque show in there and came back around. I was like, Jesus, y'all going to kill me, man. I'm going back to the hotel. But he's got a lot of energy. He's just got a lot of faith. He's just got so many great stories. I told him one day, we'd do a story segment where we can just do stories. Also, we're going to have a little dragon off. So I invited him. And so him and April won. We talked about dragons half the night, by the way. Yes, I mean, it was just dragons galore. And then a lot of good ones, too, by the way. I got up there. But so I said, y'all find me 2 others. We'll have 4 come on. And we'll drag it out and see who's the best dragon painter around. And I have no idea who they're going to get to do that. Be the other 2 people.
Cirillo from Spain.
Well, we need to get them and make sure they've been associated with Writers of the Future some way. That way it stays intact.
He's a judge.
Oh, well, see, there we go. Then we just need 1 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we just need 1 more. It's going to be hard because it's going to be late for him. Or actually, it'll be early for him.
Tom Wood does Dragon. He's got the one on your screen.
Oh no, Tom can't hang with these boys. I love Tom, but he can't hang with these boys. These boys gonna kick his nut, man. I love you, Tom. You know I love you, my favorite one, man. I'm sorry, dude.
Looking for a gauntlet to throw down here, but I don't have one.
Yes. Oh, Tom's an excellent. I've seen it. I've had Tom on many times, and we've gone through his work. He's an excellent artist. I love his work, and him and Echo both to me seem to have a real eye for colors, and that's one of the things that catches me. Colors and oil. I'm a freak about oil. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. Something to do with where I grew up at, but I really do enjoy it. So now you won. Well, wait, before we go into that. So I know you had to do the 24-hour story. What do you think? Do you think they lost their mind when they asked you to do this? Because the first time I heard this was like 4 years ago. I'm like, wait, what? What the hell do you want to do? I'm like, no way, man. This is insanity. And watching all of y'all run around because it's insane sometimes. So what did you think? Okay, I got this under control. I can knock this out, no problem. Yes, I'm going to hand this 4 hours from now. I'll be done, and I'll be out walking around in Hollywood, right?
No, I'm a very slow writer. So, like, when they said 24-hour story, I'm like, well, I got to fail at something. And so I went into it like, okay, I'm going to give it a try, because one of the things that I was hoping to learn at the conference, and on all the work sessions, was like how to write faster. And so it was interesting to hear some of the people that came in to talk, like Ian Wesley Smith and stuff like that, who said that they write and then they don't do revisions and that kind of stuff. And it turns out I kind of write like them. It's just I'm very slow because they revise as they go. So I do write similar to that, but I'm always just very slow. My word count's pretty low. So I said, well, I'm gonna try to get this story out. And when I wrote the first story that I started, well, I just wasn't in my wheelhouse really. I was trying to do something that I hadn't normally written, and it was bad. And so I got about 1,000 words into it, and I threw it out. And then, this is like 8 at night or 9 at night, and then I started writing another one, and I got about 1,500 words on it, and then I went to bed. And then I woke up the next morning, I threw that out, and I started this story at like 9 in the morning, and I was like, okay, I have until 2. And so I pounded that. Now, that was a normal story for me, as in like it was a humorous story, and I'm a pantser, so I just kind of write, and the story develops as I'm writing. And so I just pantsed it out from 9 in the morning until essentially 1:30, and then I did one read through and everything. And I got 4,500 words. And so for me, that's kind of a record to get that, to do that much. So it was great in the sense that, like, if somebody asked me if I could write that in 24 hours or 6 or whatever I ended up giving myself for the final one, I would have said no. But I did it. And then when I read it later, I expected it to be terrible. But it wasn't that bad. Like, I was surprised. I'm like, this actually reads pretty well. Obviously it needs to be like slightly, revised a little bit. And I needed to beef. There were sections I wrote and I said, well, I need to beef this up, if I do another draft or whatever of it. But for the most part, the structure of the story was good. There were some, I had some very good parts in it that I liked, and some parts that I knew I needed to work on. But it was, it was reasonable. And so that was quite educational. And I'm as much as I dreaded it when I saw it on the schedule, I'm super glad that they did it.
Yes.
What's interesting about the 24-hour story that you bring it up there, Joe, when it originally started, because Owen Hubbard used to teach college classes. He, as a guest lecturer, when he was like one of the biggest names in science fiction at the time. This is in the 40s. And I think he went to Harvard, and he went to speak one of the creative writing classes. And they had been working all semester on a story, their short story. And so he kind of like burst their bubble. He was never invited back. He said, I was never invited back. Because he said, you need it right. So like you can throw away your first 1,000,000 words. And they were just like
you don't get a style until.
Yeah, you don't get a style unless you've written like 1,000,000 words, And he said they were like apoplectic. They were just like, So he wasn't invited back. But here's the whole thing, because he had a composition speed of 92 words a minute. And it's a definite wow. Mission Earth book, the one that was the last book that he wrote, 1.2 million words. He wrote that in just over 8 months. And he had 2 typewriters. He'd write in one typewriter until it was manual typewriters until it broke, and he switched to the next one. That was to the repair shop to be fixed, and he take the next one until it broke, and the other one would have him back, and we keep on rotating them. And but he put in a thing: a writer has to write, and so the idea that it takes a long time to write a story, it's just not true, because he would sit down. During the pulp, because he published over 200 short stories during the 30s and 40s and a little bit in the 50s, and he was writing 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, and producing 100,000 words a month. But he would sit down, and A.E. Van Vogt talked about watching him write a story once, and he would just put the paper in the typewriter. He'd look towards the wall and just start typing. And as the story's playing out, so it gets like was saying like a pantser was, as the story's playing out, he'd be typing it. And when we proofread the stories, when we re-released what was released as the Stories from the Golden Age in 2008, Emily and I were doing a lot of the proofreading then. And sometimes we'd read along because we had the original manuscript pages, and you read them, and then it's like, wait a minute, we did that one. What he would do, because there was no whiteout back then. There was no, computer that you could go back. It was all
go backspace,
typewriter. Yeah, so he'd go back a little bit, like a half a page or so in the story, and he'd start from there again, and he'd type through the revision, and it would go into the different directions. So we have to watch that. That's how the stories would change with him.
Yeah.
But he was amazingly prolific. So part of the whole thing was in creating the Rise of the Future. And when Al just created First Workshop, was to implement those things that he had talked about in his essays on writing that Hubbard had written. And one of the things was like, you can write. It doesn't take a long time to come up with a story and write it. You did 3 stories in 24 hours. Two of them were a bust from what you're saying, but you might be able to go back to them at some point. But then the third one, you finished it and submitted it. And a lot of those short stories, the 24-hour stories, are sold. I mean, I have so many, writers say, yeah, and I sold my story. And because I've interviewed on my podcast people back from volume 3, 5, 8. Yeah, I sold my story. So it's amazing how it was created, but how effective it is in breaking some of those ideas that you can't do this, you can't do this, can't do this. Well, it's just not true.
Yeah.
Oh God, y'all done geeked out now. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
Writing a lot and writing and getting faster.
Yes, well, I kind of got part of it. It was funny. I was talking a couple weeks ago. I was talking to somebody about something else, and then it's like, and they got to talking about, like, they're an author, and they got to talking about. He said, "God, Joe, you know so much more about this than you used to." I said, "Just shut up, just shut up." I was like, I said, I've been hanging out with these geeks. That's all I hear. They write this, they do this. I said, I don't learn about styles, how to fill stuff. I said, man, look, it's ridiculous. But I will tell you this. So, I was working on that stuff I started working on in LA 2 years ago, which I think it's at 22,000, somewhere around there. But then my stupid brain, the other day, I'm riding home from work, and this damn story just started in my head and wouldn't stop. It's so I'm like, well, wait a minute now, because I don't have nothing to record it on because I'm driving at 80 miles an hour, and but the story just popped into my head, and all the way. God, this is probably a decent sized story popped in. Don't even know where it came from. See, y'all are bad influence, bad influence. Bad influence. I don't want to be typing or writing anything. Look, people have been begging me to write. I've even had people offer me money to write stuff. I'm like, no, especially if it's about aliens. They're like, please. I'm like, no. But now I'm going to have to write something. It's Emily's fault. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, it is Emily's fault. And she thinks I'm kidding me when I get through this 125,000 words. I'm sending it to Emily. Like, you're the editor chick, not me. Figure it out.
Well, I guess it's too big to enter into the Writers of the Future contest.
No, but if I can get this other one, if I don't lose it all before I get it down, it might get in there. Mm-hmm. But by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this moment on air. If by ever I get lucky and do enter something, I do win. Just give me an honorable mention. Say it. Don't waste it on me. No, I'm being serious. Don't waste it on me. It would be a waste. I like hanging out with y'all, but I don't need to be a writer. I talk plenty enough. Really and truly, if somebody went back through all of my individual single shows, there's probably several books there that they could pull out of there. But
Yeah.
it was lots of stuff we've talked about, and lots of cases we've talked about, and lots of scary stuff we've talked about. And then we've talked about famous people who have had some kind of weird, unearthly contact of some sort. That could be any damn thing. I mean, it's so vague. It could be anything. So anyway, poor Jason. Let's get back to Jason. No,
Yes.
Jason, we're not going to let any aliens probe you, so you're all right, man.
The AI is going to protect him.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the next question I was going to ask him. So, actually, for you so you're going to be a working author. You want to try and make a little money off of this and maybe make a career out of it. What about AI? I mean, that's competition now, and as much as all of us want to ignore it, it's still competition. It is writing stuff. Jeffrey Weiner is really the one who opened my eyes to it. I really hadn't been paying that much attention to it because, like I said, I'm not a writer or an illustrator, so it wasn't really in what I do. And he really opened my eyes. And we're sitting there talking, we're just like we are right now, just chit chatting. He said, "Give me a paragraph." So I give him a paragraph. All of a sudden, he's got a whole comic book. Not just the comics, not just the words. It's got the bubbles. It's got everything in it. It's got the pictures, the illustrations, the whole 9 yards. And it's actually pretty decent. And I was like, you got to be shitting me. And it took all of, 8 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just scary. I mean, that's just, and I know big companies want to use stuff like this because it doesn't cost them anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But then if I come along, right now, if they use it, I can come along and take their comic and modify it to something I want and use it, and there's nothing they can do about it. So right now, there's no copyright laws on it. Somewhere along the line, they're going to start building their own algorithms and try to get them copyrighted. But that's Congress. Is Congress going to literally let AI completely screw everybody over in our country, or they're going to actually work with us? For illustrators, it's going to be a little different. Because one, you can't really cheat because sooner or later somebody's going to ask you to redraw that picture. Mm-hmm. And if you're not the one who did it, your odds are you're not going to be able to reproduce it. And I was talking with a friend of mine who does gaming, he works with a gaming company. He said they still go, even with AI, he said they would still want the illustrators to run the AI to make sure that they're getting what they want out of it. So it's not quite as damaging for them as it's going to be for the writers. And I'll be irritated. I'm going to be honest with you. If I go watch a movie, and even if I like it and I found it was written by AI, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
I'm just him. I'm being honest.
That's a good question, though. I mean, if the AI produces a story, and it's a good story, it's entertaining. I mean, it's a good question of whether is that bad. I mean, it kind of puts writers necessarily out of it, or is it just that there's competition? Because it's not like an AI is necessarily going to always produce a better story.
That's true.
Than a writer.
Produce some credit.
But now writers, compete against ourselves. Now we'd be competing against ourselves and AI. I think the interesting question about AI and writing and art too is who owns it if an AI develops, if AI develops a story or whatever, right? Is it the person who put the prompt in? Because normally in writing, if somebody said to me, "Oh, hey, I got an idea for a story and it's this and this and this," and they're like, "I don't want to write it up, but here's the idea," and I were to write the story up, then, by copyright law, I would own the story, right? I'd be the owner of it because I wrote it. Now, they do the same process when they hand it off to an AI. So who owns that story? Does the AI own it, or the company that owns the AI?
If the AI becomes sentient, it would own the copyright.
Right. Yeah. And my story,
But then what's it going to do with all this money it's going to make? This just gets insane.
See, that's the genesis of my story. Is that my kid wanted to buy a otter skin for one of his characters in Roblox, the game Roblox, and I was like, "That's why and it cost real money, to get this." And I was like, "Why are you spending real money for this just to make your character look different? Didn't do anything else to him, right?"
Oh yeah, and they loved him.
But the AI, if you have an AI and you pay them money, they could say, "Well, I want to look like this," and I'm sure there's going to be online retailers that just make digital outfits and stuff.
There already is.
Right? There is. There's for people that put on their skins for any of the games, Fortnite or any of those games. I assume that's going to be the same. If an AI got paid money, they could buy. Because if you're talking about, like in the story, sentient, intelligent AI that you couldn't tell apart from humans, then they're probably going to want to buy stuff just like humans, and the stuff that they buy would just be digital content.
Well, half of America don't realize it's talking to AI when it's calling customer service these days.
Right.
You know, a good chunk of them are AIs. And I always get in trouble. First thing I ask for, I said, can I speak to an American? And they're like, what? I said, an American. I want to speak to an American. I said, I can't take the accents. So I want to speak to somebody from America. And right off the bat, their whole attitude changes with you. They're like, well, wait, this person's going to be trouble, which is true because I'm going to be trouble. And next thing comes out of my mouth is, before you say something stupid, look my name up, because there could be consequences, because I do own a radio station and a TV station. You'd be surprised how many people go, oh, well, we're sorry, Mr. Montaldo. Oh, no, this was just an error. We'll take care of this right now. And bam, 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 it's done and it's taken care of. It's just a shame that the world is like that. It should be the same for everybody. I don't know. AI is going to be interesting, you know, because AI is going to be used. I mean, Elon Musk was talking about this. It's going to run his cars. You know, we're talking about using it for driving our spaceships. I just don't want to know the idiot who wants to plug our nukes into it. Again, let's go back to how many movies were there where the AI took over the nukes and killed everybody? No AI with the nuclear weapons. I think that's a dumb idea. No AI actually running any big equipment like nuclear submarines or aircraft carriers. It's already bad enough. We've already started developing fighter jets to go along with the F-35s that run off of AI. Well, it's a, how can I explain it? It's AI and it's controlled. So the pilot has some control over the drone, or the operator does, but there is also AI involved in it. So they say they're very, very deadly. I mean, come on.
Yeah, this story that I'm reading right now from Jason Palmatier, it's got these fighter jets, the Chinese fighter jets. They now have the AI set up so that they can have the operator on the ground, and a simulator goes into a simulator, and then they're actually seeing what's being seen in the fighter jet, but they don't have the problem with the G-force that a body.
No, they don't have to.
It can go 5, 6, 7, 10 Gs on doing these crazy stunts and pulls and stuff like that to evade, you know, as evasive. Stuff.
I got invited to a Predator drone. It's a Predator drone facility. I won't say what it actually is, but it's a facility. And it's weird when you walk in there. These kids are 18, 19, 20. They got gaming gear on. I'm not shitting you. They're wearing, 3D vision on their heads. They've got all this other stuff, but they're not using conventional. They're using these ones that fit on their hands. But still, if you were just standing there and not knowing what they were actually doing, you just thought it was a bunch of nerds in here gaming out. That's what you would think. But no, these and they're flying 5 Predators each. These are deadly drones. And I'm thinking, I wish they would use somebody older, not so much that because the kids wouldn't be good. The kids are going to be excellent flyers. That's not the issue. But if you're going to kill somebody, why don't you maybe make them 27, 28? Let's not put this on an 18-year-old kid. I just feel like it's a shitty way to start life.
Did you read Ender's Game?
I did. I read it and seen it. So actually, I seen the movie first, and then I said, you know what? Like any good movie, maybe you should go back and read the book. Because a lot of times when you go back and read the book, you're like, oh, well, now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Did you see the original when Space Force first launched the recruitment ads? The recruitment ads were for nerds. They weren't going after these guys. They were going.
No, because that's not what they needed.
That's who they're going after for the exact reason what you just said there.
They did. But, I mean, it was a good movie. It was fun to watch.
No, I'm talking
twisty turn. Yeah, no, I know. Because you need today, we talked about this the other night too. It's in the old days, the big guys ruled the world. Today, the geeks rule the world. You got Elon Musk, you got Mark Zuckerberg, you've got our boy from Microsoft. I mean, you had Steve Jobs. These were all geeks. They all grew up as nerds and geeks. Well, Elon not as much as the others, but still, these guys are worth how much money? I mean, look at Bezos. I mean, how much money is this guy worth now? 180 million. He'd be worth more than that if he didn't fool around. So his wife got half, but still.
Billion, not million.
Okay, billion. Yeah, billions. Yeah. I mean, I know Elon just took back over at 233 billion. Sorry. And if Tesla stock goes back up, he'll be well over 300 billion. They're saying he might be the first trillionaire. Really? Who the hell needs to be a trillionaire, people? Give me a break here. You got to be funding everything, Elon. I want to see free internet. I want to see free trips to Mars. Give me a break here, Mr. Trillionaire. Everybody should have it.
One-way trips. There's one-way trips.
Yeah, well, you're probably right about that. And then the other day, I'm listening to him, and I thought he was high or something because he goes, well, pretty soon I'll be living on Mars with my 20 kids. I'm like, wait, what? 20 kids? You got 10, which is a lot for one person in today's world. He's planning on having at least another 10 before he leaves to go to Mars. I was like, okay, Elon. Yeah, I mean, you got the money. What's the big deal? You take all 20 of your kids, go to Mars, start building a colony. Only thing I didn't like about what he said about Mars is he wants to design it after. He thinks he can design a better Mars than the current state of Earth today, which may be true. But every time he says that, it makes me flash back to Moonraker with the crazy guy in orbit wanting to put the, probes around the planet and kill everybody. It just bothers me for some reason. I keep thinking he might get over there, build his own weapons. Nobody else gets to come to Mars. As he is, he's already threatened China. And think about this. This is little Elon Musk. He's threatened China and Russia. He told Russia and China the same thing. You launch a nuke, I'll knock it down. Because he was talking about how many Starlink satellites you have in space, and they're plenty big enough to knock a missile off its target. And he said, I'll just knock them down. And he said, let me tell you something else. He said, I can build them faster and get them in space faster than you can build one rocket. He said, for every one rocket you produce, he said, I'm going to produce 100 satellites and I'm probably another 5 or 6 missiles of my own. He means it. He knows how to do it. Think of it this. He's launched more spacecraft in 1 year than all the spacefaring races in a decade. In a decade. I mean, that's and he can land them. Here's America. We've been in space how many years? 50 years. We still can't land the things unless it's got 3 wheels on it. He's scarily smart, or the people he has working with him are scarily smart. Maybe he just puts it together, but we need people like him to change the world, hopefully for a better one, or change Mars. Either way, they'll need illustrators and writers on Mars. That's you might put in for a job now. Denise, no, I'm serious. There's a group out of it's one of the Scandinavian groups. They're already taking people for the 3rd or 4th trip to Mars. They're signing up 200 people. Yeah, my name's in the registry, but by the time they leave, I'll be too old. But you can sign up for them, and they put you through a thing. They check you out. They want to know what you can offer. And don't think you have to be brilliant scientists, people, because they're going to need everything. They're going to need plumbers, janitors, writers, illustrators. It's going to be another world, so it's not just a science thing. Everybody's got to be there. Nobody wants to live in some boring shithole house and just look out at the red planet all the time. You want entertainment. You want to be able to explore. You want to be able to do all sorts of things. You want to be able to cook and clean and plant and plow. So they need everything. Dad, you mean what did my wife say? She said, good riddance, buddy. I said, baby, you want to come with me? She's like, yeah, whatever. She's not going to Mars if I go. She's like, yes, yeah, I'll stay here.
Now, Jason, you said you liked to write comedy or humor. Do you do satire as well?
Yeah, I mean, most of my stuff is sort of like, it's kind of satirical stuff. I've written a few things that are satirical. Most of it is, I don't generally set out to write comedy when I start. I just start writing something, and then ridiculous things occur to me, and then I used to suppress that. Actually, I wrote a whole novel about that, culminated. Well, it didn't culminate, but the real action of the novel kicks off when there's a satellite war, and all the satellites in orbit, get destroyed, and that throws the world off as far as communications and stuff is concerned. But and I just when I was writing that the whole time, and I didn't fully succeed. I was just fighting back on all these bizarre sidetracks that I was like, if this happened, then this would happen, and these characters would be in this situation, and they're all fairly funny. And so, but I was like, no, this is a serious book, and so I kind of culled all that stuff out. And then, so then later I decided after I finished that book to the next book would be like a comedy, and so I started that one, and that wasn't really satirical. That was just straight up comedy. I haven't done a full the classic sci-fi satire yet.
We'll be releasing it shortly. Joe's in the middle of reading it right now. That's definite. That Hubbard wrote. I mentioned the 1.2 million words. That's a 10-volume series. It's satire. It's definitely.
It's definitely satire. There's just tons of stuff in there that's taking shots at this, taking shots at that. It's funny. I mean, it's funny. Plus the lead. Well, I don't want to say the lead character because there's more than one, but he's just a moron. And it doesn't seem to get any better. He just seems to get stupider as we go along. I'm only on part 3. This thing is huge, by the way. I'm listening to it, and
Technology, right?
Yeah, so it's so I'm like, I think halfway through 3 somewhere, and there may be a little bit further than that, but I'm thinking. A friend of mine says, "What are you listening to?" Because he's riding in a car. And he's like, "What the hell are you listening to?" He said, "I said you're not going to understand. I'm too far into it. I'm not going to explain it to you. Just don't worry about it. Just listen." And he's laughing. He said, "Well, this guy's an idiot. Who is this guy?"
Yeah, Sultan Bruce. He's an
idiot.
Specifically, because normally it's usually the protagonist is always the good guy, the hero. This one, he's the actual villain, and he's the.
I want to see somebody put him into clothes. I just, for some reason, I just want to see this image, or twice, or just a couple of different times along the way where he's changing clothes. But I would just love to see how this guy dressed. It would, I'm sure it would just be,
and stuff like that.
It would just be incredible.
I'd like to talk to you about later, Joe, is the, I was doing some research on it today before the show. The secret base on Earth is in Afyon, Turkey. And I started looking at from these aliens. That's their secret base there, is Afyon, Turkey. And I started researching Turkey, and it's the 5th most populous or 5th most common UFO sightings of any country in the planet. It's like is Turkey. I mean, wow, that was really interesting how that into it, specifically in Afyon, where there's this mountain there, and that's the base. They haul it out inside there. That's where they have the base.
If you ever get over there, a good friend of mine, Farah Yadoza, she's a translator. She gives UFO tours over there. And she used to live in the States, but she's from Turkey. She lived in the States for a while doing translations. Now she's back home, but she does translations for whoever, and then she does tours, around Turkey.
We'll have to head over there for the book release.
Yeah, so yes, that's right. Let's go to Turkey and hang out for a while. What do you mean? I'm not going nowhere in the Middle East, people. They will just keep me there. Yes, there's too many rumors about me, like being in charge of different things. No. Even though none of them are true, they probably would say, we got this guy fine now. We're not going to try it. No, I'm serious. We'll talk about that one night, people. All the different rumors that supposedly I'm into this and into that and into this. Matter of fact, there's a new rumor started from a guy that John introduced me to 2 years ago from the military. Yes, that I showed him how to do military abduction so that he could bring him into Space Command. I was like, really? I said, why don't I get paid for any of this stuff? I want to see a check, man. I want to see a check. It's trying to hack me off. I tell people all the time, if I was doing any of this stuff, I'd be stinking filthy rich. Stinking filthy. I'd be giving money to people just for the shits and giggles. So anyway, I'll let you get out of here. Anyway, I was looking at Messenger. They're a little weird there tonight. So where you plan on heading? First off, how can they find you? What's a good way of looking for you? What you got planned on coming up next? And remember, these back here, you can't see right now, but there's other, say, like right here is Non-Human. That's a friend of ours who just
the book that Jason's in. This is his book.
This is the one Jason's in right here. And this one's for sale, y'all. Y'all can get it over at galaxypress.com.
Wow.
But reason I was showing you this is like books like these. Books like these, which is winners of Writers of the Future. We put them up there for people who have won or people who have a new book out. Matter of fact, I got to write to Lazarus Black because he's got one he's getting ready to send me to put up there as well. We leave them up there, and you hear I'll mention them from time to time when I'm talking about it. It's just a free courtesy. It doesn't cost anybody anything. They sit up there. They get rotated around. Matter of fact, these are getting ready to get rotated out. This is from 30 to 36. But I noticed something. I can't find my 36. I should have 230 autograph 37. I sure hope I didn't get him bitches away. I'm going to be hacked off. Because what's her name? Laura was in 37. And she was on with us the other night. So I was trying to find it. And was it Aline was on with us? I get confused. But I wanted to find. And I still have this one. I got one of these left. I didn't know I had one. We're going to give this away. I didn't know I had this one left. This one fell out. You heard it just fell. It was underneath something. Actually, it was underneath this book. See, Elron was keeping it a secret for us because it was underneath this book. And he said, hey, man, I got this hidden, Joe. It's a special night, you get this up there. Besides, I think I've been channeling his ass lately anyway.
I sent it to you, Jason. Fear.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I read that. That was quite an interesting.
I know a
Yeah.
lot of people had good comments. But getting back to you, so where you plan on going? Plan on really doing some novels, novelettes, maybe anthology, or what? Just short
Yeah.
stories. I know it's a bunch of them, but still. What
Yeah.
do you think?
I think my next thing, summer, I kind of have off because everything's a little crazy for us in the summer. But usually, when school starts back up, I start writing again. And I'm gonna do a novelization, not of the short story that won, but when I wrote that short story, there's a bunch of things that come out of it. Like you mentioned a few of them and stuff for AI, where you're like, all I could do was mention them because short story didn't want to blow up into like a novelette or whatever. And so I just kind of mentioned them and moved on. So all those little points I'm going to expand on, and for a essentially novel version, not with different characters, everything, but set in the same world. So that's my next major project, and that'll probably take me the decent part of the year. And then I always end up writing short stories throughout the year too. So that'll fill my time. Guess I won't be entering the contest anymore. But nope. But I still do short stories probably for my brother's small press. And and then the book. And then I do have a plan. I do have a bunch of stuff. One of the things the Writers of the Future is good at is that through relentless repetition, they kind of hammer into you that you're now a professional writer because you run Writers of the Future, and you should do yourself like that. And so I have a lot of back work that I had submitted a few places, and some that I never submitted anywhere, that I'm going to try to go through in the summer since I don't get much writing done, and try to submit that and get that stuff out there. So that's my immediate project.
Yeah.
And you did a virtual book signing today, and you have another event on Sunday, right?
Yeah, on Sunday I have a signing at the local Barnes & Noble in the State College, PA. Yep.
Why don't
1
you
to
let us
3.
know in case anybody listening is nearby?
1 to 3 at the Barnes & Noble in State College, Pennsylvania. And also TJ Knight will be there too. So we'll both be at the table. So.
No, TJ's gonna be there too. Yeah, he was just on that too long ago. See, Wilmer, he's in Pittsburgh. Look at that. Said something about bringing you Spock ears or something. I'm not sure what that.
Yeah, I know. It's the eyebrows.
I don't
it's
know.
one eyebrow is higher than the other. If I take off the glass, it's a little less. No, it's still never mind.
I don't know. It's one of the
eyebrow.
It's I guess somebody's got to be. Well, I was talking with one of the winners. Was it Wednesday? About she was a big Star Trek fan too. We actually happened to get into some Star Trek, and she was talking about the story she had submitted on 37, which wasn't actually a winner, but it was an honorable mention. How kind of Star Trek-ish it was. But I say this all the time. I've read through 4 of these now of the winners, and then a few more that I've got in here. I think it's like 12 now, 14, but. I don't find them to be like super sci-fi. I find it to be a very steady, or maybe you should say consistent mix in there. There's fantasy. It just seems to kind of have a nice variety. Yeah. Because don't get me wrong, I can read sci-fi all day long, but it is nice to have that mix in there
right.
as you're going through. And this year particularly seemed to be a little bit more of a mix. I don't know how to explain it. I guess you'd have to read it to know. So people, it's right there, galaxypress.com. You'll see what I'm talking about.
That works for me. Read it, everybody.
That's right. Read it. Oh, no, Janine. Ain't none of this. Read it and pass it on to all your friends. No, stop being cheapskates. Buy the book. It's like $20. Come on. I mean, Jesus, look how thick this damn thing is. Let me pull it down here for you to see. Let me look at this thing.
And you get all the art.
Yeah,
get all that color art in the front.
Yes, you get. Yeah. Let me jump up in here right quick. Here's well, he's got it right there. Look, see
in the front. Yeah, they got all the color pictures in the front.
That's right.
Pretty awesome.
They got a lot of these who make great oils. I mean, I was going through them the other day again. No, Steph, this is. I know y'all always ask me, any books up here are autographed. You can't have them. I'm sorry. No, they're up here. Eventually they'll go. You can't see it, but there's a set of shelves on the side of the room. They'll eventually go up there with all my other autograph books I've gotten from different artists for different things over the years. And I lost, like 2,400 books out doing Katrina, maybe more than that. Linda swears it was like 4,000. All of them are autograph books, all of them. And some of them from pretty big names. And so I've been trying to just slowly but surely make them back up. What do you mean? I'm not going to. No, my son reads. He reads and writes. Matter of fact, I jumped his ass today because he hadn't submitted anything to these guys. No, I'm serious. I told him, I said, look, he said, well, Dad, I ain't done it. I said, you know what? WritersFuture.com, go over there, take the course. And he's like, really? I'm like, it's free, dude. Come on, whatever. Come on, give me a break. Because the kid can actually write. I can't, but he can. Well, no, I'm writing because I've been encouraged by these strange people I hang out with now. And look, when it's all said and done, it may be a good book. It may just be, you might go, Joe, it's just, you're right, you can't write. Don't worry about it. And let's go make a bonfire somewhere. It would not hurt my feelings. No, so y'all know it would not hurt my feelings even a little bit. No, these two, you mean the two on the top? They can't submit. They run the job. No, they run it.
Right.
There might be a conflict of interest.
Yes, just a little bit. Yeah, what the judge is going to say, oh, well, y'all didn't win. Y'all suck. No, that's not going to happen.
I'll get a random phone and have a different phone number, enter under a pen name, and Joni will call me up. Hey, you won. Oh, hey.
Yeah, it's funny. I should mention, you mentioned the variety thing on Writers of the Future, which is awesome because it's just like an anthology that's, composed of just, these random stories that come in. I should mention that my brother has a Kickstarter going on for, he decided to do a magazine. Normally there's themed anthologies, so they're all about the same. He decided to do 2 magazines, and year 1 funded, and year 1 he just did it himself. And year 2 he wants to do, and he's going to produce it, but he has a Kickstarter now. And that's very similar in Writers of the Future, where he's just picked a bunch of stories that that have been submitted to him that might not be, fit the anthology themes that he's seen. And then he did have an open call for just other stories. So there's a nice variety in that. And that is fairly rare in the, in publishing.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it in magazines where there's not as many stories, right? And so I'll just throw that out there because he does need to get that funded in order to be able to do a year 3.
Well, how does find it? What's it called?
It's Zombies Need Brains, and it is called ZNB Presents Year 2. It's out on Kickstarter right now.
Check it out.
So, the thing is there's not that many markets for sci-fi fantasy. Writers of the Future is one of the big ones. And then there's magazines that we all know, Asimov's and Analogs and sci-fi and stuff. But the smaller presses, those are the ones that actually newer writers have a better chance of getting into. And so to support those is very important for the genre, long term. So
yeah.
Let me ask you this. I've been something new I've been bringing in. So I know I've got friends that write and other stuff, and some of them really like to do on-demand publishing.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan for some reason, and I don't know if it's because I don't know. I don't know if it's a quality issue for me or if it's something else. I can't ask these two because it's not fair to ask them. But what do you think, Jason? I mean, if you didn't know like these guys and you were just out trying to publish something, how would you go about getting it out there?
Well, the question is, do you want it traditionally published, like somebody else does it for you? Do you want to do?
Well, no. So no. These are people who I've been talking to that they're doing on-demand publishing. I don't know who they're doing it with. I know it's different people do it. I know Amazon does. I know a bunch of other people do it, but like Greenland and all do it. But
what's it do exactly? What do they mean by on-demand? Like,
so you
VOD.
Yeah, you give them the book, and then as you need them, they publish them. And they send them out. They do everything. They have the copy, however they do it, and they as they need them, they send them out to whoever you ask them to send them out to. But there's not any like books physically made like this unless you order a bunch. It's just not like that.
Oh, like print on demand or whatever from Amazon, that kind of stuff. Yeah, part of me is like, have I done a print on demand? I think I got a print on demand once, and the quality wasn't bad. I was expecting it to be pretty bad. It wasn't too bad. I think. Part of me is like, well, that makes a lot of sense to only print what you need. However, I don't know. The quality doesn't quite match what you get, like, when you get a big run from offset printing and stuff. But for a smaller, if you're going to do self-publishing or anything like that, I feel like that's probably your best option. Because, the one thing you don't want is to have to spend a lot of money up front to get a bunch of inventory that then you have to get rid of, and so... Right. If you don't have an operation like Galaxy Press is, well-oiled machine, they got the whole operation ready to go. So for them, having inventory is a good thing.
And they got Sarah, so
that's right.
They can bring books with them.
Yep. And so, but for like, if you're doing a small press, I mean, essentially that's how my brother does offset printing. So the Kickstarter part is, your normal size trade paperbacks or whatever. But then after that, he gets print on demand stuff. Just because, the numbers that you have to have in order, you have to have 500 or above or whatever to get, your offset printing stuff. And so after that, he just does print on demand through Amazon, but he does big orders. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think it's okay. I feel like it fills a niche, between the, bigger publishers and everybody else.
Because, I've had a lot of people over the years ask me about publishers and how do you get a good publisher and how much do you get? Well, first off, if it's your first book, you're not going to get a good deal anywhere you go. It's just one of those things. If you got some book that looks like it's going to be like some, like Avatar or something, you might get lucky. But even then, I've heard too many bad deals from too many big authors on their first or second books. Even ones that went into movies. I've known a few people like the writer of Fire the Sky and stuff like that who really got bad deals on it. And then they changed half his book.
Yeah.
I mean, half of that movie you're watching is not even in the book anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
Now we're going to need to ring off in a few minutes here, Joe.
Yes, because you got to go. I know you got to go stay out of trouble in Los Angeles. It's early for y'all anyway. What is it, 8:00?
Yeah, I know. We still have another 3 hours of work yet tonight. So the night's
all right, guys. Do not believe them. They're going dinner and dancing. I already know they're going to go dancing. I want to see Emily dance. You can dance. Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's all you get.
It's what was it? No, there's no dancing at the gala. No, I would get hurt. Oh no, I would get hurt, and I'm not getting hurt for anybody. Y'all can forget it. Somebody said you should just go in the back and take somebody and go dance. I'm like, no, it's not gonna ever happen. Nope, I'm scared of Emily. Y'all forget it. She's just big too, and I'm still scared of her. It's one of them things. No, they're all. And real quick before I let them go, they're all hardworking, all of them. Yeah. And if you ever get lucky and you win, and you happen to get out there, you're going to really enjoy yourself. I'm not going to say it's not going to be the whirlwind because I'd be lying to you, but it's a good whirlwind. Yes, you're asking.
We will be in San Diego for the Comic-Con coming up next month, and then we're going to be in Tampa the week after that for the Tampa Comic-Con, and then the following month we'll be in Atlanta for the Dragon Con. And after that, we're going to be in Utah for the Salt Lake City Fan X. We'll be seeing you, Joe, at Tampa. Are you going to be there at Tampa? Are you gonna be able
I'm trying to go to Tampa. Yeah, I was talking with Linda about it the other day, so because it's in July, so I might be able to pull that off.
Yeah,
and I was gonna come and see you again at Fan X because we wanted to go.
Oh yeah, Fan X is great.
Yeah, we wanted to go do some Dark Sky in Utah, but I got invited to speak in Pensacola, so that's probably where I'll be.
Okay.
Unless something changes.
If you're going to any of those conventions, let me know.
Okay.
Unless I can call Dan and talk him in and let me come speak up there.
If you want to go to those things, Jason, because you're a winner this year, Jason can get Emily can get you a badge.
Okay.
As a pro,
it's great. It's a great lot of energy, a lot of people going by, and then you got Sarah stopping everybody. Man, she's like the whirlwind herself. I'm telling y'all guys, don't let her stop you. If she stops you, you're buying something. I don't know. If you see her run, no, just kidding. She's great. She's great. She is really the whole bunch of them are. They got a great staff there. They're all hardworking. They got a great booth set up too, by the way. Go check it out.
Great.
Yeah, you got to sell all the books. They don't want to bring them damn things back with them. You know what it costs to take stuff around like that on airplanes? People, come on. That is not cheap. You lose all your profit doing that. Oh, yeah. That's just how it works. So, y'all, anything y'all want to say before you go? Oh, don't forget. Vote.
Your copy of Rise of Future Volume 39. It's out there. Jason. Got the book, so.
Look at that. We'll do it. Trifecta, man. Look at that. There we go.
That's weird. Camera there.
Hold on.
Buy it.
You guys keep holding it up.
There you go.
It's good. Well, yeah, 38's up there too. I mean, it's sitting right over there next to it.
Yeah.
I forgot about you. 38 in the
right now. It's awesome. And be sure to vote.
Yes, vote. Mm-hmm. Yes, vote. Y'all can cheat and vote for me as many times as you want.
No.
Yes.
No,
cheat,
no,
cheat,
no.
cheat, people.
What else?
Cheat. I don't care. Just cheat.
Writers of the Future is rigged for no cheating. So
Yes, that's right.
That's true.
Y'all can, but y'all be hearing the promos all week. You'll probably hear some other stuff about Writers of the Future in the near future. They got some other things, some other gigs coming up. So if y'all are traveling and you can catch up and stop and say hi to John and Emily, they're very polite people. They're very nice. Don't aggravate them, okay? And what I mean by that, you stay by, say hi, you buy something, don't be like just aggravating. Y'all know what I mean. I don't have to explain myself. And I've been at lots of conferences and lots of lectures, and sometimes you can overstay your welcome. That's as politely as I can say it. No, because they're too nice, they won't tell you, but I will tell you. So, no, really. But go by, stop by. They're always willing to talk to anybody. They'll talk to you about anything you want. And go over there and ask them about how do you get in, how you join. You don't submit nothing with them. Again, writersofthefuture.com. Go over there and submit whatever you're going to submit. Doesn't do you any good to bring them in. There's nothing they can do with it.
Oh yeah, the quarter is going to be over, and today's what?
yeah, the 30th of June.
30th of June is the end of this
Yeah,
quarter.
so y'all got 7 days, people, to get this quarter in. But really, seriously, just submit it at writersofthefuture.com. Galaxy Press, if you want to go buy something, galaxypress.com. Yeah, it's easy to find. Yes, again, if I got $1 for every time I said this, I'd be a millionaire. But go. That's the easiest way to do it. Writers, just go take the course, sit down, write the short story, and submit it. And if they say they hate it, then which you're not going to do, submit it again. These are the nicest. I'm telling you, they're too nice for my own good. They're not going to be mean to you. And hey, you might get an honorable mention or some other stuff. About these damn honorable mentions. But no, you can get it. You can still get in the book without winning. By the way, too. I shouldn't tell you all that, but you can. Not always, but you can sometimes. It depends on space, but still, you can sneak in there maybe. Yep. But submit, and if you win, get in, and then you get to go hang out with these guys, and you might get lucky and get to have a cocktail with us or something. No, it's called BarCon. Yes, that's what you're talking about. BarCon, yes. And that's what they call it. I didn't know what they called it either, so don't feel bad. I had to learn the hard way. No, it's actually, no. So anyway, they got to go. Y'all get out of here. I will talk to y'all soon. If you need anything, John, just holler at me.
Thank you very much.
You're up to speed on all your numbers, right? Yeah, you're up to speed. Yeah, I'll talk to you later today.
And I'll get tonight's number later on tonight.
Yeah. When we get through, I'll get through.
Have a good signing event on Sunday. Yeah.
Yep, Sunday. Yep, 1 to 3.
All right.
Thank you.
Have fun at the dinner dance, and I'll talk to you later.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yeah, you got to keep doing it every time you raise it up there.
Yeah, I know.
It's guys, be good, and I'll see y'all soon. Jason, now you can hang out for a second. We're gonna throw them out of here for a minute and send them down the road. It's insanity. So really, I mean, how did you enjoy it? I mean, you had a lot of fun, and was it? I mean, I know when y'all get there, because most people don't know me when they first get there, because I don't have anything to do with Writers of the Future. So I catch a lot of people on Saturday. What day did you come in?
I think Saturday was the day. Yeah, Saturday's the day that I flew in, and then because I think the illustrators come in like a little later or something.
Yeah, it's strange how they do it. No, Denise, they just throw me in anywhere. Yeah, usually I get in pretty early on Saturdays and hang out. But it's nice for me because I get to talk to everybody, and they still don't know who I am yet. They don't know I'm Press yet, and so they don't get as nervous. Well, people got nervous this year. Not everybody, but a lot of people got nervous this year. And I was like, but also this year, the schedule was much more intense than the last 3 years I was there.
Did they drop a day or something? I feel like somebody said they maybe.
They didn't actually drop the day. They, everything was back to back. So if it ended at 6:30, it started. I mean, if it started at 6:30, it ended. There was no overlap. I mean, everything was overlapping. There was no time in between the
sessions
classes
and stuff. Yeah,
because usually there was some breaks and stuff like that, and there'll be some time in there where I could get some interviews in. Because like this year, I felt bad. I didn't want to ask everybody because y'all were going until 10, 11. I didn't want to bring 4 or 5 people up into the room and do interviews. You get 4 people in the room or 5, and you're doing interviews. It's going to go till 2 in the morning, and y'all got I got to be up early in the morning, and then of course you got the day with the 24 hours, and I don't want to even aggravate anybody in those days. So it just makes it hard. And Fridays usually let's get ready for the GALA event. So everybody's getting dressed or getting tuxes or getting dresses or whatever. So It's just kind of one of those days. So it was tough this year to get anything in. It really was. And I did notice it was, I don't know why it was as tight as it was. Usually it's not like that.
Yeah.
I know there was a couple other people that said something about it. So I'm sure they'll adjust it for next year. But it was strange. It was definitely strange. It really was. But it's always fun because it's always a whirlwind. It's insane. You know, I like watching the pitter patter between Tim and Joni. It's a lot of fun because somebody yes the other day goes, they don't always agree, Joe. I said, yeah, I know. That's one of the fun things about watching them. It's different styles, you know. I mean, because they don't always agree. And well, the year before last, they had Todd McCaffrey and Dean Leslie, and they don't agree either all the time, you know. So they'll go back and forth. It's a good thing because you get to hear two different sides.
Yeah.
You know, and since you're an author, you want to hear as much sides as you can. I like the fact too that they let y'all. Sometimes they talk a little bit about financing and you know, how to deal with money structures and things like that. You know, I always tell this to everybody. There's a gaming company in New Orleans. This guy came down here a few years ago. He's always looking for authors. He's always looking for freaking illustrators. I think their starting pay is $100K a year. And they're just looking for, you know, because they're trying to get ahead. It's one of the bigger game companies, too. They moved down here a few years ago.
Okay.
I wish I could remember a guy's name. And but, you know, it's just and then I know a friend of mine, Curly West, he's in Japan right now. He got hired. I think he said he got hired by one of the older gaming companies. I think he said it was like Sega. I don't know. It was one of the older companies. I was surprised because I thought they were out of business. I'm not going to lie. When he said the name, I was like, aren't they out of business? He said, no, they're not out of business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? They're not? I think it was Sega, actually. I thought they were out. I said, well, he said, they just don't make consoles anymore. He said they still make games. I'm like, oh, really? I said, I didn't know that. What do I know? And, but he's making $275 a year. And that's what he's doing. He's writing stories for them. And they're figuring out how they want to turn it into games. And so we'll see what comes out of that. He said, I told him, well, I want to be beta testing, send me it. And I said, who are you writing for? You know, what game console? Is it Sony? Is it Xbox? Who the hell are you sending this to? And he said, I do for everybody. So we'll see. We'll see. My son's got every freaking console made, so we'll see.
You'll see it eventually.
Yes. Oh no, Jimmy, he don't live in my house anymore. He's getting ready to get married and stuff. He's 37, man. He's old. This is his dad, man. Shit. No, I taught him the game. I was a big gamer too. I came up. Well, I'm not going to get into this. No, people, you don't even want to know what console I started on. You would laugh. Let me tell you this: the first computer, sort of, this first computer I ever used didn't even have Windows on it. Okay, no, you had to use DOS. And the only game they had on it was Monkey Kong, and you threw bananas at stuff with this little, you know.
I remember that.
Yep. It was horrible. It was just horrible. Well, you can still see it. It's in one of the Linux versions. You can still see it if you. Yes. Well, a lot of people don't know what Linux is anymore. If you go to college, you do. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're in college, you'll know what the Linux systems are, the Unix and all of that. But if you're not, you're probably not going to know. No, it's just one of them things. It's like Windows on steroids is really what it is. You can just do more with it. Don't get me wrong. You can screw it up too.
You have the power. It gives you all the power you need to destroy it.
Like, and I tell everybody, stay out of the registry. Oh, no, I can write in the registry. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Write in your registry. See what happens. Then they'll call me, Joe, can you fix my computer? I'm like, nope. Oh, come on. No, you're not a fix. I'm not fixing that. Just reboot it. I mean, just reinstall it. I said, that's too much of a mess, man. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Well, we had Pong, which was bonk, 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 bonk. Yeah, it was Pong, people. It was this little white ball that went back and forth. Damn, people love that damn game.
Yeah.
And then the games got more advanced as they went along, yes. And then Sega got this wise idea of putting a pad on the keyboard. I'm like, wow. On the handle. I can't get it out of my brain. No, they did. So you had your little, the controller. You had your little round thing on the top of the controller, and then you had a little pad on the bottom. You could do it. You could like make hyperspace jumps and stuff like that. They were the first one to do that. But Sega wasn't smart like Sony was and said, let's go with a disc right off the bat. No, they messed their disc up when they did it. It happens. Yeah. And Sony was a great console. I can't tell you, I destroyed like 5 of them. Oh yeah, yo, I'm not kidding, man. What the bam up? They just went $150 right out the window. They were
Oh my
cheaper back
gosh.
then. Today they're more expensive. So, but I've seen my son destroy them too. I actually destroyed one over. I was playing Pebble Beach golf. Yes, it was a tournament. And I got mad, pulled it out of the wall, took it outside, and smashed it to pieces. $275. Just
That was extended rage. You had to like get it out of the wall, take it out, and smash it.
I was stupidity is what it was. That's all it was. It was just stupidity. It was young and dumb is what it was. I don't know, guys. Oh, I had a temper. I still got a temper. I just keep it on a check. Back then, games were good stress relief. Yes, I had the extra money. It was fine. When I didn't have the extra money, it was just not. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what they're gaming on right now. I know we just got a S, and we just paid it off. So, and then he's got him a new Sony. I go back and forth on who's got the best box anyway. Sometimes I like Sony. Sometimes I like Xbox. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a thing for me. It's like politics for me. I'm not a lefty or a righty. I'm a centralist. So I can go either way. It's the same thing with the consoles. Whoever's got the best one is the one I'm going with. I'll own two of them. I don't mind. They're getting a little expensive these days, but they're nice to have. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I have a Vizzo computer that plays every game Sony makes. Yes, I don't even need a console. And it'll and with the emulator, it'll even play a lot of Xbox games.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yes. So I can and the computer is 12 cores, 128 gigs of RAM, 3, 6, 7, 9 terabytes of space.
Wow.
And I think the current video card in it is a 12 gig video. It's either a 12 or it might be a 20. No, it's a 12 because the 24 is on the other computer. It's a beast. It's a beast. Yeah, when they make a gaming console like this, I'll be happy. They ain't got quite there yet, though. And it's hooked up to a business internet connection, which means everything is live time.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not even hardly. There's. If it's in the U.S., it's always less than 35 milliseconds. It's I love it. Unless I happen to hit somebody with some internet from like 1950, then it's not. So I was getting ready to ask you that before John was leaving when I was asking you about the self-publishing. Because the reason I was asking is I know, sometimes like Kickstarter, sometimes it's just easier to put out and say, okay, hey, look, you can get my book here, or you can send it to me and I can get the book sent to you either way. But sometimes it's just easier because you're right, going out and dumping $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 on books that you've got to tote around with you when you're traveling is a bit. And then, you always want to have some books with you so you can autograph them all. But man, sometimes, I'll go to some of these book signing things and they'll have 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you're going to sell them all, that's great. But do you know you're going to sell them? I guess maybe you do. In the beginning, how you know how many books to bring with you? You don't want to sell out, but you don't want to be carrying 50 cases of books back with you.
No, man.
Because I know.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. And I know some of my friends, they have books shipped to wherever they're doing signings at. And, I got a good friend of mine. He's wrote 3, Bigfoot books, Sasquatch books, excuse me.
Oh, Sasquatch, yep.
I don't want to get in trouble calling him Bigfoot because he's Sasquatch. So, but anyway, he's writing 3 of them. So he just has them. He'll have like 100 books shipped to wherever he's going, and whatever conference he's going to, he'll have that many shipped, and he'll just set them on a table, and they usually sell out. This goes to what we were talking about with Larry Elmore and April Solomon the other night. Is sometimes the right cover sells the book. Yeah. And I mentioned this. There's times I've bought books because of covers. I'm not going to lie. And sometimes I was very pleased. And sometimes I was like, oh, my God, I should slap the artist for writing it. The cover was much better than the book was. But, it happens. But that's the point, people. So, get out there, look at it. This has got a great cover in this book. The artwork inside is really nice. I was thinking the other day if there was an easier way to display it on a table when it's, up for sale or something, but you don't want to be messing up the binding of the book. So, that's right. Larry did, or not Larry, Randy did. How did he do it? He had it on a screen behind him. I think he brought like a 27-inch screen with him, and he had his pad, and he had all the artwork on the screen itself.
Well, that's cool,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
well, yeah, because he wanted people to see it, and then he said, and then I think he made a deal with some of the artists if he sold some of it that they could give him a cut off of it. I don't exactly know how that worked out, but
Yeah.
a lot of people come up and they see that, and that's what they want to read. Because when you see the tax guy, see, I don't necessarily know if that one would make me read the book, but it sure makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, because he looks like a Jedi with a freaking sickle. I'm like, okay, what the hell? And when I seen it the first time, I was like, what the hell is this? But see, the piece I seen for yours, because of the little Korean girl I met, her and her family were really nice. Her sister was fabulous. Her whole family was really nice. And when I first seen that one, it caught my eye for some reason. And I had some friends in the illustrators, so I should have been personal favorites like Abel's Dragon and Nancy and Sarah and all them had really good artwork in there. But for some reason, it just grabbed my attention and kept it. It's something about it. It kind of put me into the city itself. And I would have got the story or the book because of it.
Yeah,
I would have had to know exactly what is this representing. And now that I know, it actually fits the story. But not everybody can do that. So
yeah, I think what it is too is it's got the look on her character's face is interesting. You're kind of like, well, what the heck is she thinking in that? She doesn't have a totally confident look in her face.
I know it's just kind of like.
Yeah, so you're kind of like, well, what's up? You've got some questions there. Like,
what am I doing here? Well, Janine, if you want to know what we're talking about with Jason, you're going to have to go buy Writers of the Future. Well, the anthology 39 right here. Look again. You have to buy this one, 39. There you go. We showed the artwork a little while ago, but you have to buy this one. And the story him and I are talking about is in there. Well, give them
Under My Cypresses. It's called.
There you go. And then you can go and get it. Oh no, there's the artwork he's showing you right there, and it's just something about this picture that just sets me back. I don't know what it was, and I actually, when I seen it, I went and found her because I wanted to tell her before I got. Because you're right, when you look at the girl's face, let me see if I can get it up close enough for you. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
When you see the girl's face, she's just kind of like, I'm kind of okay. I mean, it's not fear, but it's not
right.
It's not like, ooh, should I actually be here or not? It's when you look deep into the picture, you'll notice there's a pretty decent amount of depth in here. There's other characters in here with her, by the way. And then you seem to have pop-ups, which are probably something we're going to see in the near future anyway. Right now they're banned, but they're going to facial recognition pop-ups is what they call them. So pretty soon, people, when you're walking past a grocery store or convenience store, whatever, just a department store or something, there's going to be a balloon that pops up with the last thing you bought. And it's going to try to encourage you to buy whatever it's over the top of it. Yeah, well, they already have the technology. Oh, no, the Texas store was going to do it. And for some reason, Congress said, no. I'm not sure why yet. And that will probably change in the future. No. You know why? I can tell you why. Because no one ever knows what was the last thing you looked at. Now, if you're just an everyday person and you're not a perv, you don't have to worry about it, right? What happens if you've been looking at porn and you're walking along and all of a sudden it poop pops up and the last thing Debbie Does Dallas or something pops up on the screen and a bunch of people standing around you. I don't know if you're going to like it or not. Well, it could be anything. It could be something you bought online, something that's embarrassing. So I think they decided, no, the technology is not quite right yet. It could be anything embarrassing that you didn't want somebody to know that you purchased. It could be hemorrhoid cream, people. It could be anything that, whatever. You know how it is when you buy something online and for the next 2 weeks, you see these little things popping up all around trying to sell you something you already bought. Yeah.
And that story, they kind of solved that. It gets solved in the sense that if you're on it's essentially the meta layer, and you get an implant that lets you see the meta layer, and that allows it, do that augmented reality type stuff where you can see things that aren't necessarily real when you're walking downtown, like the pop-ups for like stores and that. They get around that by the fact that the pop-up can appear because it's only getting broadcast to your meta layer. Like you're the only one who.
Oh, okay, well, that's much better.
Right. Yeah. So, but you're right. Once that happens, and then there's not this privacy concern, then I think there'll be pop-ups coming out all over. You won't be able to walk through. It'd be like chaotic.
Yeah, there's many sci-fi things when the ship pulls out this pop-up. Matter of fact, there was an episode of Picard they did that in.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Gene? What are you talking about? It's like What are you talking about, Doctor Who? What? You lost me. I don't. What do you mean, the story? You think it's. What are you talking about? Did you read the whole story? Because you're not making any sense to me. Well, I'll tell you what, read it again and then re-ask the question, or send it to me and I'll send it on to Jason. Well, because right now I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No, so just, read it again. It don't take that long to read that story. It's a pretty good story. It's you know how I am, and people have heard me say this, and I'm glad you brought up the humor thing earlier. So I don't care what we're talking about, sci-fi, fantasy. If we're going through the world and we're blowing out, it's the end of the world's coming or whatever, apocalypse, whatever's coming, there's got to be some humor in there.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the most horrible movies I've ever seen, right in the middle of it, somebody cracks a joke because they're about to be thrown off a cliff or eaten by something, because it's how humans really are.
Yeah.
When you're whistling in the dark because, you're scared shitless and you're like, so as humans, it's always going to be there. It's one of the disappointments to me for the new Battlestar Galactica. I just didn't find there was that much humor. I mean, there was a lot of good acting in it, a lot of good sci-fi in there, but I was expecting a laugh here, a laugh there, And Starbuck's supposed to be a little funny anyway, so I was kind of like,
Yeah, that Starbuck is super serious in that.
Yeah, she is. It's not that she didn't play she plays a good role. I don't want to hate on her. I think she plays a good role in Mandalorian. I've seen her in some other stuff. She's a fairly decent actress. So I don't want to hate on her, but there needs to be, because I'm not kidding. I've talked to Navy SEALs and people in Special Forces. I was in Special Forces, but you get to that point, you're like, oh my God, you're going to die. It's over. And somebody says, oh, well, and it just cracks some ignorant joke because, what? You're going to die. There's nothing you can do about it. So you might as well have a little fun. It's just humans' way of coping with stress, but it's and it's actually encouraged in the military. It's especially when you're in certain types of situations, they actually encourage it because it helps you to think through things. But for some reason, every now and then you'll get a sci-fi or fantasy that just leaves it out. And I'm like, come on, people, anything. Somebody was telling me something about one of the new Star Treks about it the other day. And I'm like, look, I'm getting a hard time keeping up with Star Treks, man. It's, it's somebody. Well, Carol Lynn just writes in. I love this nickname, Carol Lynn. She's talking about from Poltergeist. She goes, she says, well, he looks like Spock. He's got to like Star Trek. I was like,
I've seen some Star Trek. I'm not like a super Star Trek fan. I did watch the older Star Trek, right? Because that was on,
because it was on, yeah.
It was just Spock at all minute. I'll take the Spock. He was, he was a good looking Vulcan.
Yeah, he was a good looking Vulcan. Well, what are you talking about, Carol? No, okay. Not everybody watches Star Trek. Not everybody watches MC Universe. Not everybody watches the DC Universe. Yeah, people have favorites. Some people don't watch any fantasy or sci. Oh yeah, I've got very serious friends that would. If I tell them, hey, why don't we go see this? Joe, does it have like calculus in it? No, I don't want to go there. And I'm serious. These people are unbelievably serious, and which I understand. It's who they are. But every now and then, like, so what I started doing was, you're gonna love this. So I got several friends that are very wealthy and so every year I send them a copy of the anthology, and I'll call them on the phone right in the middle of the day when I know they're busy. I say, hey, Jack, have you read the anthology? So it's. I said, dude, come on now, and they won't hang up on me because they like me for lots of reasons. So I'm like, he said, no, I haven't read it yet. I said, well, I'm gonna keep bugging you until you read it, and then I'll get a call and I said, yeah, man, this is pretty good. I said, oh, you actually relaxed and enjoyed it. And then y'all hear his wife in the back. Thank God, because they're just overly serious. People, you got to have fun in life. Life is this long, okay? And for some of y'all, it's this long. You got to have fun. What are you here for? Really?
Yeah, right. That's one of the reasons you can write. Like when I write humor, I'm like, oh, is this worth it? Sometimes you're like, what I'm writing worth it? They're like, if I can write something that makes fun, somebody laugh. Improves their day, then that's worth it.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it. I agree.
Yep.
What is that, Janine? I have no idea if the man's married or not. Why are you looking for a husband? See, he's married. Sorry, married. He looked like Spock. That's why he's married.
Right. You can't look like this and not get married. I mean, I should have pointy ears, but
he didn't. No, he didn't say anything about no werewolf book. Where the hell are y'all getting this stuff from tonight? Are we all even listening to this?
Well, my brother does have an anthology out called Weir, which is a bunch of creatures. I don't believe there's a werewolf. I think that was like banned. But, so it's got a bunch of different. Actually, it's sitting right. I have all my brother's books back here. If there's multiple copies of it on a shelf, then I have a story in it. So there's not too many of them. It's weird over here. Here somewhere. It'll be on the top shelf. Yeah, there it is. Here's one of them. But these are great. These are awesome bookmarks. Yeah, this is the Weird Anthology.
There y'all go, guys. Y'all should go check it out.
Yeah, so that's from Zombies Need Brains. He's got a website, and he's
I
also
love that. I love
Amazon
that. Zombies Need Brains.
Yeah, Zombies Need Brains. ZNB is what everybody shortens it to.
Well, that's good. Kind of sounds like D&D, so that kind of works out pretty good.
Yeah, there's the logo. It's a brain.
There y'all go, guys. Y'all should go check it. I know everybody in here likes this kind of stuff, so everybody's just
it's
listening
great.
to it.
Yeah. My brother's I've submitted stories that I think I submitted one. No, I didn't do one to Weir, I don't think. They couldn't come up with a story in time. But I've had a lot of stories rejected because my brother is very he's like all business. So if it's got to be good enough, it's got to be all that.
At least he's honest. I mean, at least he's honest because, if you haven't listened to Wesley Dean or any of the authors over there, the first thing they'll tell you is don't ask your mom or your dad or your siblings because they're going to lie. So,
that's true. Yep.
And which I understand that, because, you submit something, oh, it's so good. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you find out, oh, no, it was kind of crappy. I'd rather the truth. Actually, I have several friends, including my wife. I got several friends around me that I tell them all the time, just be honest with me. Because, I can get off in rants and get crazy and get into all sorts of stuff. And I'll just tell them if I lost my mind, they'll be like, you'll hear them go, Joe, that's enough of that, I think. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it's enough of that. Let's go. Because, we'll get to conferences and stuff. And sometimes I can be very confrontational sometimes. And especially if we happen to be talking politics. Oh, my God. Because, to me, most people in this country are just ignorant. So I'm kind of like, which automatically makes people mad. Did you just call me ignorant? I said, no, I just said most people. I didn't say you personally. Anyway, that's never a good way to lead, by the way. But, even on those places, well, even when they get heated, someone somewhere along the night is going to ask me about Writers of the Future almost every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you'll always get plugged.
Yeah.
It's, they'll ask me about Writers of the Future. They'll ask me about this. They'll ask me about that. And it's because people want to know. And people want to know what my connection is too. A lot of times they'll be like, well, how much do they pay? I said, they don't pay me nothing. They're like, and I said, I went because I thought they were full of, you know what? And then I found out they weren't. I said, I've been real happy. Because I get invited to a lot of these, especially over the years, I've been invited to a lot of different places that said they're here to help authors or illustrators. And I get there and find out that it's not quite what they were selling it to be, Yeah. And that's what I was actually expecting to find here. I'm not going to lie. But that's not what I found. John and them gave me run of the place. They told me I could talk to anybody at Author Services, anybody at Galaxy Press, any of the winners, anybody else, any of the judges. He said, carte blanche, you talk to anybody you want. And he meant it. And the first year he invited me was a year COVID, so there was 2 sets of winners there that year.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, so I got to spend a lot of time talking to a lot of people. And it turned out to be exactly what they said it was. I'm still waiting for somebody to jump out the closet and stab me, but
I know that it is weird in that, when you go there and you see all the effort and everything they put into that award show and all that, and even just everything that goes on during the week, how many people they fly in and all that. Yeah, you're like, is this real? You're always waiting for the hook, the catch. Something there's going to be a catch to it, but there's not. It literally is. They're doing what they want to do, and that's what they want to do is they want to find new writers and new illustrators. And weird in this day and age, it's like you're not used to that.
No, you're not. And I understand that thing about paying for it, which is cool. I mean, the judges come out. I mean, they fly the judges out and put them up just like they do with me, but but the judges, of course, aren't getting paid for being there. They're using their own time. And they're coming, hang on, these are big name authors, big name illustrators, and they're there, and they truly, and that's what really gets me more than anything else. They truly want to help. They want to talk to you. They want to be involved. They want you to talk to them. They're there, and and I say this to every winner I get to talk to when I'm there. I always tell them the same thing. They want to talk to you. Don't shy away from it, because some people are, they're a little bit intimidating. Like if you were an illustrator and Larry said, come over and talk to me, you might be just a little bit intimidated, And, if you know anything about it being an illustrator. But Poor April. I thought April was going to faint. And then she said something about him on stage. I thought he was going to faint. I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
He was super red.
He was.
went red.
Yeah, he went. I mean, he was. Oh man, he didn't know. That's why we had him on last week together, and that's when the dragon contest thing started because we were doing dragons all night. But it's a lot of things, and so now you get out there and get some stuff written. A lot of illustrators now. So if you need some artwork done or something, say, hey, look, I'll give you a cut or something. If we win, because. Yes, people. Unfortunately, a cover is important. It is.
Yes, I think that's. I was super excited about this cover because, like you, I love bright colors.
Oh yes. And
this cover really popped with that colors on it, and you're totally right that the illustration, like the cover of your book, is probably the most important thing for selling it. I would assume anywhere, including Amazon or any of these places, you're just going to see a thumbnail. And that was one of the things I took away from this was the fact that, oh, wow, I have this whole pool of illustrators now. And if I need a cover done, if I do self-publishing or something like that, I need a cover done. Now I've got illustrators that I've seen them
help you out.
Momentum and stuff. And, I can call them up and they might be interested in it. And that's good. They're essentially pre-screened, by winning the contest, that they're good. Yeah.
And knowing that they won the contest gives him kind of an idea of how to do it in the first place. So
they go through that whole course, essentially learning how to be a professional illustrator. And so put together a composition that somebody's going to want. And so that's got to be a pretty cool course to go through.
Denise, no, they have to go with the Queen Echo Chernick. Yes, Echo is the queen boss of the place. Yeah, she's a fabulous illustrator. Yes, she is. And this year, she was running it. Tom Wood was there, who's another fabulous illustrator. Larry Elmo, who we've been talking about, is another fabulous. Dan DeSantis, who's another one. Matter of fact, Dan is taking a little sabbatical to get into something else recently, but we talked a little bit about that. A lot of these guys we talk about too also do oil, which really makes me big fans of theirs. I don't know. I got a thing for oil. Maybe it's because of I have no idea what it is. I wish I knew, but
it kind of has its own, it's got depth to it or whatever, and the colors on the oils really pop a lot more. I don't know if they have a sheen all the time, but, when I think of oils, I think of that kind of gloss, look to it.
No, I'm not anti anything as far as artwork goes. No, I just prefer that, but no. I've seen lots of illustrations done on lots of different. I've seen hand drawn, hand brushed, hand painted, but I've seen a lot of stuff done on computers. Even AI that we were talking about earlier, I've seen a lot of that done as well too. It's I enjoy it. No, we have people do stuff for us all the time on the network. And matter of fact, we're going to be in need for a new banner since we got a new website. So sooner or later, somebody will. Who? I actually talked to some of the big names about doing one for me. Yeah. I want to be able to put one up there with one. I'm not going to say who it is yet because it's still in the works. But I'd like to have their banner up there with their signature on it. Yes. That'll always look good. And our banners go everywhere. They're on at least 400 sites. So we got 200 archive sites, 200 live sites. So yes, they're everywhere. So when you get seen, that's like tonight. I mean, we're going to be what? When are we at? So we're going in 2 hours. We'll be at least 1.5 to 1.8 million listeners tonight. Yes, y'all can find him, encourage him, make him write more stuff. We want more stuff. No, he's got a good story. Y'all should read it. Well, I'll tell you this, guys. It's always really read as much as you can about about authors, because you'll be surprised how much of their stuff sneaks in to their books.
It's true.
Yes, it is. It's sometimes they realize it, sometimes they don't, but it does sneak into the books, especially when you get to spend some time talking with them. You realize, oh yeah, there's a little bit of me in there. What's that, Denise? I love any kind of comedy. Satire is great. Well, in the old News on Flipside, we used to do an hour of satire in every show. Yeah, every show. No, she passed away. That's why we don't do it anymore. Yeah, it's sad. It's been a couple of years now, but oh no, it was hilariously funny. It was so funny that we got a letter from the Senate one time asking us to stop it. Oh no, we in all fairness, we had lost our minds. So it was in the height of the heat of the Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. It was anyway. We're not going to get into it, but it was we were bad, is all I can say. And because we don't take sides, so it just is everybody off. They're like, take a side. I said, no, I ain't taking a side. Y'all both idiots. Why vote for idiot? One of you idiots, man. Forget it. I'm moving to a different country. But I don't want to live nowhere else. So no, I wasn't one of them when they cried to go to other countries. In a couple of weeks, yeah, guys, y'all can come check it out. We're not doing politics right now. There's nothing other than talking about. We got some people in the Ukrainian war. We had one of our Wuhan agents on just recently talking about what's going on there. We had both the boys on from the Ukraine on talking about what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm right now. I'm just hoping everything stays peaceful and quiet for a while. I'm ready for some kind of other than. I've given up. Honestly, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I've given up watching cable news altogether because it's not news anymore. It's opinion news. Matter of fact, like Roku and all of them now, and Prime and all of them don't list it as news anymore. They list it as opinion news. Yes, because it's not real news anymore. No, because they just say whatever the hell they want. Because it's cable. They're not held to any standards. Yeah, so I just stay away from that because it just depresses me. So I don't want to watch it. See, I like hanging out with people like Jason. He's a nice guy. He's got some good book behind him. What do you mean 5 kids? Who got 5 kids? Oh, no, you mean Elon's got 10 kids.
Oh, yeah.
10 kids. You want Jason to compete with him and have 10 kids too? What are y'all trying to start here?
No, 10, not 10.
Jason said if you're going to raise him, he'll have 10 kids. Yeah, you can raise his kids for him. Yeah, you ignorant people. No, it's right here. It's book 39. Go get it. GalaxyPress.com. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it anywhere books are sold. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, it doesn't matter. I always point out to Galaxy Press because I want y'all to buy it from there. But who? No, you read the wrong story. That's not his. No, I recognize who you're talking about, but that's not his. You missed it. You're in the wrong. I think that one's the one actually after it. Yes. Read the one in front of it. You can. It says his name on the cover. I mean, on the page. Yeah. Look, you see his name right here. Yeah, there you go. And there it is. I don't know what you were reading, but that wasn't the story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ginger. That's really sweet to say. You enjoyed it. So y'all been reading while we've been talking. Well, that's good. I'm glad to see it. And they do have it in audio. Yes, you can get 39 in audio. You sure can.
Yeah, that's true. That was pretty cool.
Yes, I don't have one yet, but I will get John to send me one. He always sends me lanyards, so y'all get some extra ones. Reese lanyard just means extra. Yeah, that's all it means. It's couillon. It's actually French, but we call it couillon down here. It's. But send in, get it. I tell y'all what I'll do. Let me see if I got any before I run my mouth. I've got. Okay, I've got 2 of the 39s left. So I'm going to do this. If you can tell me, this is going to be for, hold on, let me write this down because I'll surely forget. Oh, here's a pen. Hold on. So for the 10th person who emails me and for the 29th person who emails me, I will give y'all each a copy of book 39 because I got 2 left. Okay. But the trick is you have to tell me the name of Jason's brother's publishing company.
Ooh.
Okay, so we've talked about this several times tonight. And yes, this hasn't gone to rerun yet, so you can't go back. So anyway, I'm serious. Y'all go ahead. And if you get it right, I'll send you both the other book. And actually, I'll do one better. If you are the first one that gets it right, I will send the copy of Fear I have left on paperback. So here it is right here. It's not for the lighthearted. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, I'm not a real scary person, but there you go. So you'll get Jason's story and this. Well, yeah. Well, I'm sure he was happy when Joni called him. Everybody's happy when Joni calls.
Yeah, confused, happy. Actually, the funny story with that is I submitted my story, and then I saw the newsletter like 3 weeks later that said, here are the winners for 3rd quarter, and I didn't see my name on any of the lists, and I'm like, oh, I didn't win, so then I forgot about it. And then when Joni called, like halfway through this the phone call before I realized, oh, I'd entered the fourth quarter. 3 weeks after the end of the quarter, they can't judge all the stories. So I don't know what I was thinking. So I thought there was no chance of me winning. One of the reasons I was so confused. But yeah, that was a.
So don't you call and give y'all a heads up, because it's like they still have 10 to choose from or something, and then
the first call is to tell you that you're a finalist and that's the top 8, and so they're the top 3 out of those, and then if you're a finalist, that's the sneaky way. If you're a finalist and then you don't make the top 3, you might still make it in because into that issue as a published finalist. If they need, like you said, they have space in there and they need to fill a little space, they'll put you in as a published finalist. So that was a possibility, but didn't need it.
What do you mean, Karen? I give away all their secrets? No, I'm not saying anything. If they had a problem with anything I was saying, they'd tell me. John and Emily are not bashful. No, they'd tell me. No, they've been knowing. I've been talking about this for 4 years with them, so no, they know what I'm going to talk about. Well, because I want people, when people hear like Jason talking, they're like, well, this sounds thrilling, exciting, and scary all at the same time. And I want people to know, this is because it's exhilarating, and they need to know it's not people. It's not just the fact that you're going to win. It's the fact that they're going to fly out there and take care of you. They even fly your family out. So, I mean, you can come out there, you can really have a good time. The gala is as good as any gala that Hollywood does. Matter of fact, one of the producers who just won at the Oscars was talking about how nice this gala was while he was on stage. So it should tell you something right there. And it's well done. What do you mean? Oh, you heard me say? How did y'all hear me say that? I did say that. I said, finally, I got my own table. That's all the judges and me. Yes. So I told the judges, I said, this is the third year I've had this table now. This is my table. Just know it ahead of time. And they put B next to me. Well, they moved me this year because I got too much TV the last 3 years. So they put B because, B had her hair all done real nice. And they wanted y'all to see her instead of my ugly face. It's one of them things. Oh, no, they've got enough pictures of me to last 500 million years. I'm quite happy. No, he can't win again. He could do it. Now, if he decided to become an illustrator, he could,
That's true. Yeah. There are a couple winners who've done both, have won both. Yep.
Yes, there are a few. Yep. No, children's books they don't have a division like that. No. As far as I know, they don't. No, I mean, I don't think so.
No, it's all adult. But I will tell. This is a little hint, and I didn't know this when I entered the story, but it's supposed to be not middle grade, but it's supposed to be able to be read in like I forget what genre, what level. So swearing is like, you're supposed to keep it down to a minimum. And then there's certain words like, damn and hell are okay. But any other words are not. So you should just make up your own words. And I had some in mind and they just said, take it out. But while I was there, they were like, oh yeah, the new rule is that if there's any in it, then it's disqualified. So just if you have a story that has some of that in it, I would probably take it out or change the words to some made up words.
Yeah, some made up like frack instead of the other.
Yeah, or something like that. Because I think that technically, if I had to enter my story now, it might have gotten just disqualified because I had a couple bad words in it.
Yeah. But I basically tell everybody figure PG-13 is what I tell everybody, and there's a couple.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah. There's what they're proving a point here. That you can have really good entertainment and you can even have movies out of stuff like this and sell your stories and all without having to resort to heavy sex, heavy violence, blood and gore, or cursing the whole story, which they're right. The books do every year. They sell really well. And it does prove that you can have entertainment without, bad stuff.
Yeah.
See,
I grew up their audience, like they can have it. They can get it in schools and they can get it in libraries and stuff. And it's not a big deal.
And again, we gave I gave a couple of cases away this year to some local schools because I'm from New Orleans, but right now my home is on the Gulf Coast, and Mississippi is not well known for being a literate state. It's getting better, believe it or not, because of the casino. It's getting better. It's moved up a couple of points. So any chance I get, I want to give stuff to kids to get them to read. Because in today's world, if you can't read, you're screwed.
Yeah, it is true. Like when we're texting and everything and all that, like literally it is a absolute text-based
You
world.
have to read, and you really need to
Yeah.
be an efficient reader these days, not just like a sixth grade or seventh grade. You need to be able to read.
Yeah.
And so we encouraging kids. And matter of fact, I remember I gave some away to some sixth graders, and I remember the teacher, they love this. I said, I'll bring you some every year. I said, every year I'll bring you some. And I said, I'll have a Galaxy to Press. I said, why don't you write a nice letter to Galaxy Press so I can send it to them? And they said, that's great. And because the kids enjoyed it, they read through them and they had a good time. And I happened to have a case of 36, so I brought them dry and dropped them off too. And it was a great thing for them. Now they're in the school permanently. I think there's 12 of each one now, and they're in the school and they can read them. We're going to bring a couple books to the library, and I'm all for people reading.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's different from you guys and girls. I know y'all heard me talk about this, but I went to private school, so we were required to do a classic a week from 7th grade to 10th grade. And so after 4 years of writing classics, I wanted to break from reading. I'm not even going to lie. And some of these classics are really depressing, like When the Red Fern Grows. I mean, some of this stuff is just like, man, why y'all want me to read
I was
it?
thinking about that just the other day. I'm like, my oldest son's going into high school, and I'm like, he's going to have to read all these terrible books, Old Yeller, all these things they made to read. You're like, what? Are you trying to destroy me? Like, seriously.
I know, man. Some of them books were tough. I mean, some of them were tough. And people, you got to read the classics. And, well, finally, public schools in some states are catching up. Not all states, mind you, but in some states they are catching up. And schools and cities are trying to catch up. Yeah. No, we're not. That's for a news show. We're not talking news right now. Yeah, we'll talk about that one night, but not tonight. I know all about the Texas law scene today. Yes, I know about all of that too. That's a whole FCC versus books. I know all of that. And we'll get into it one night, not tonight. Because you know what? My kids are grown, so it's different for me. I don't have to get into the argument about what's being taught in school, even though I do have a vested interest in it because I got grandkids, but still, really, it's different down here. I trust our teachers to, as long as they don't get all religious on us, I trust our teachers to, teach our kids what they should know. If they get all religious, then I'm not anti-religion. I think because there's too many of them for one teacher to be teaching anything with religion at schools, unless it's a particular religious school. But I mean, everyday public schools, no, because first off, you don't know what religion the teacher is. You don't know what religion the 40 kids she has in her class are. So you're going to be offended somewhere along the line. Yeah. So it's just leave that for the parents, leave that for whatever religion is. Let them teach that. You just teach what we need to know to make it in life. And finally in the South, they decided they're going to add in 11th for your junior and senior year, they're going to add a financial course so you can learn how to, do math. Well, they said balance checkbooks, but too many people don't use checkbooks anymore. So it's going to be just balance your accounts online. But you'd be surprised how many of my friends can't fucking balance their accounts, people. Oh, yeah. They'll be like, Joe, I'm always drafting. I said, dude, you make 4 times as much money as I do, and you're always overdrafting your account. I don't know. Somehow it doesn't balance out. I'm like, what 2 + 2 equals, right? 4, right? I was like, dude, do math. I said, do you got a calculator? I said, just one on your freaking computer.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Who knows? But hopefully Jason won't have that problem. Hopefully soon he'll have an accountant in the background. That's 9 figures now, Jason. Just want to let you know. Do I get a commission?
Yeah, I think it's how it works. Right?
That works for me, man.
It's supposed to work that way.
That works. 9 figures, people. Figure it out. You know what 7 figures is, people? That's 7 figures is $1 million. And then go from 8 figures and 9 figures. Yes, you'll get it. No, that's not a trillion. I think it's like 100 million, but still. Just figured it's math. I know. Y'all slept through math. I know what happened. Unfortunately, I had advanced math courses, and then I got into advanced avionics, electronics, and having even more advanced math. And then I got my bachelor's in science and had even more advanced math. Look, I could look. I don't even like to think about math anymore. It's fun, though. It is. To me, math's like another language. Yes, it is. It's kind of weird. But I enjoy doing it. Any questions for Jason? We got to let him get out. We had him for 2 hours, man. This man got a life. He probably got somebody at the house, half going, bitch, when you get off that day? Oh, well, okay. Mine just keeps going by every once in a while. You got an hour left? What is it, Clara Jane? What you got? Yeah, I'll ask him that. So Clara's just basically asking, is this something once you want to know if you're looking to make money off, but two, you want to know if it's something that helps you to relax or maybe cleanses your spirit or something along those lines. You put cleanses your spirit, not me. That's why I asked him that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not. I mean, if somebody's going to pay me, I'll take the money, but I'm not really in it to make money necessarily as like a career or anything like that. But I think I started writing because I have to be working on a long-term project. And then when I had stayed home with my kids, I was a software developer before, so you're always working on some sort of long-term project.
Yeah.
I quit to stay home with my kids. I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I have a long-term project, but it's like an 18-year project of raising a kid. You don't get this like sense that you're completing anything like yourself. And so that's when I started writing, because I was like, okay, now, so it does sort of give me a sort of peace, but it's more like something I have to do so that I don't have this like nervous energy part of my brain.
That's a good thing. No.
Right. Yeah. Not doing anything. So even if I wasn't able to write much, because with babies and stuff, you don't have much time. My mind could be like working on a story, while I was exhausted.
Yeah, running it through. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's true. It is kind of like
I'm glad to meet somebody else that got to stay home. I stayed home for my son's first, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
And then he got to a certain age, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to work. But no, it's nice, people. For a dad, it's unusual. And
yes.
My wife, I was her second husband, so she had kids before, and she said, "Well, I don't want to raise no kid. You raise him." I said, "That's fine. I'll take him." Matter of fact, I was district manager for a company called Roses out of Car. We used to put roses in all these stores, so I would walk in some days with like 4 dozen roses this arm and my baby in this arm. These women would lose their mind, man. It was insane. It was insane, man. It was, matter of fact, got me out of a ticket one day. I was hollering, ass cop stopped me. He said, "You were like 30 miles over speed. I'm going to take you to jail." I said, "Okay, well, what you going to do with my son?" And he looks back there. I can't even use the language you use. And he said, just leave. Just leave. Just leave. He was mad, man. He was, I can only use the language. Then I seen him a couple of weeks later at a store. And I said, "Well, look," I said, "I know I put you in a bad spot the other day." I said, "Let me go out the car." And I brought him in 24 purple and gold roses, LSU colors. And I gave them to him. He said, "Really?" So he brought them to his wife. We were best friends after that. He got my phone. He'd call me on the road or text me on the road and let me know what stuff was going on. And we're still friends. And he told other cops, I'm cruising one day, driving along. I see lights. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not speeding. The guy pulls me over. He says, "Man, you got any purple and gold roses in your car? Buy them." I was like, it became a thing, man. That's funny. Oh, man, it was too bad ain't none of them red. But look, anybody who's out there, it's good because it's good if it brings you peace of mind, and it's good if it helps other people down the line get a jiggler or a giggler or a scare or whatever. Those kind of things are always great, and I love people who do that because personally, it's not something I can do. I pick with Emily, and I am writing stuff, and I will send it to them to mess with it, but I'm not trying to be a writer. I like to do it. It's fun for me. It was kind of a bit of stress relief. I was in LA and I'd been working 12, 14 hours, and for some reason a couple of nights I couldn't sleep, and in those 3 nights I couldn't sleep, I banged out 12,000 words. And so I was but it was kind of like what you were saying earlier. It was, for me, how can I explain this? So as I'm writing, in other words, I'm not seeing the story real far ahead. I'm only seeing like every 2 or 3 words is the story. That's all that's coming out of my head, but it's flowing steady. But that's the only way I can describe it. Right. It's like, because I know some writers can tell me they can see the whole book or they can see chapter ahead. I can't do that. It's no.
Right. And then as you write, do you like, oh, this occurs to you, and then you have to solve that and you figure it out, and then you start keep writing, right?
Yeah, and maybe it's from hanging out with all these authors or whatever. Because before I hung out with these guys, I could write out, so I could do like technical stuff. I could write out the whole entire thing, but it was nothing in it that was going to be fun. So, I learned about, just filler stuff that has to be in there, like walking down the street on a happy Sunday, whatever needs to be in there. I've learned that has to be there. That serves a purpose. And I didn't know how to do it before, but thanks to y'all and the judges, I've learned that pretty well now, and some other stuff. And then I can't remember the lady's name, the one who had the dice. Remember her?
That was I can't remember her name right now either. I can see her though.
Yes. That was interesting because I was sitting in the back, and first time she asked me if I wanted something, I said, no, I'm not interested. And then I started watching y'all. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'll let you explain it because you probably did more of it than I did. But they basically gave you some sheets of paper and a dice and something else. But I'll let you explain it before we go.
Yeah, so on the sheet of paper, there were a couple prompts, and then the die was a 20-sided die. And so you would roll for the first section of prompts, and it would tell you like a character. It would just be like a description, like, an old man or something like that, or, a young kid. And then the next prompt you would roll, and it would give some sort of situation, like, they're at home or they're on an airplane. And then the third one would be some sort of, event that happens, they're sleepy or somebody knocks on the door or something like that. So you're supposed to take those three prompts and, start a story with it. And then, maybe finish it later, which is actually what one of the winners, the story that beat my story was actually from a writing prompt from one of her sessions.
Oh, shit, huh?
Marianne Zenos. And so they can be very effective. And I didn't think when I first started writing I'd be good at that kind of stuff, like themed anthologies or prompts and that kind of stuff. But I am, because the minute you give me something, I want to figure out, like, well, how do those connect? Like, how does, like, my mind just automatically starts working on it. And so that actually does help me write if I have just a few things. And almost all my stories start with, I have one idea and then like a second idea that kind of ties in, and then I don't have to do anything. I just kind of have to keep doing my daily routine, and my head's kind of working on it in the background, figuring out how those things connect. And if I get all I need is the first scene of how those things connect, and then from there I can build it.
Well, you should be doing podcasts
because they give you things that you got to connect.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, that's why I said you should be doing podcasts, because sometimes I'll be just tripping through life and I'll see some. I have actually done podcasts over something I've seen on the ground before. It was fascinating too. It's just sometimes I'll get this. I'll do something and I'll get this whole set in my head. And like, okay, well, we're going to do a podcast on this, and we're going to do a podcast on this, and we're going to do, because right now we're live on Roku on television. So it's
cool.
Some lady the other day said, we're on TV. I said, yeah, we're on TV. She's like, you're kidding me, right? I was like, no, we're on TV. She said, nobody told me we were going to be on TV. I said, well, we're on TV. But I said, we're on video too. She said, well, she said, well, that's YouTube. And I said, no, we're on Roku. We have our own Roku television channel. She's like,
yeah, that's
you
awesome.
mean real television? I'm like, yeah, we're on real television. And this will go up. It'll be up in a week or so, and then it'll be put under the Writers of the Future thing. It'll stay up for about a month or two. By the way, you can use these for anything you want. So we tell y'all all the time, if you see something, if you want to edit it, maybe use it for something down the line, or a segment or something, or just a clip you want to put on a site or a sale or something like that, feel free. It's one of the reasons we do it, because, we are considered friendly press. So. And then again, if you get a new story or something, send me a copy. It'll go behind me. We'll set you up and get you on when it's up. We'll get you on just to see if we can't sell some. And maybe you'll go there where Bob's face is right now. And Bob the alien. He's it's funny because now we're on Roku. You can't really hardly see him back there, but there's all the great classics are back there. All the Greek and Roman classics are back there. All the great philosophers, and you can't really see him. And in Bob's eye, there's a little BB in there, right? You can't really see it. The frickers on them big screen TVs can see it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, buddy. The first time somebody, the first time somebody wrote to me, they started telling me everything that was back there. They were reading the label on the Crown bottle. They were reading all the writing. She says, "Joe, you need a good shave, man. Your beard's like a little ratty there." I'm like, "What?" Says, "Excuse me, what the hell are you talking about here?" Oh, no. I'm like, "Get the hell out of here." And but yeah, they can see everything. It's insane. And I forgot Roku has a zoom button, so they can zoom in and out. So I'm like, oh, ain't this just a joy? So now my hosts are like, what a zoom button? So they went from no makeup to a ton of makeup now, which cracks me up. I was like, what are y'all spraying that shit on? What's going on here? It's really funny. It's Jackie. No, I'm serious, man. They were not happy when they found out about the zoom button. I wasn't exactly thrilled myself, but it's what it is. We're doing TV. Everybody's doing it. It's part of what goes on in the world now. Denise, that is Tom Wood's artwork. You're talking about the Flaming Dragon. That's his artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you a little story that Tom told me a long, long time ago. Tom did a flame. I forgot what it was. It was an eagle or something. And he sold it. It went to Walmart. And like in the first 2 months, it sold 2 million copies. and I believe $10 or $15 a copy. So here's this young guy. I mean, we're talking young guy. All of a sudden finds himself, he's a millionaire from one little piece of flaming art. Yes, what can I say? And then his career just took off after that. He's done stuff for the NFL. He's done stuff for a lot of big names. And then he likes to do stuff. He likes to do freelance stuff too. So I noticed a lot of them like to do freelance, but a lot of them also have commercial customers, that probably pay the bills.
Yeah.
Well, Jason's in Pittsburgh. He ain't that far from Arkansas. He does, Tom Wood does a float every year in September. So his family owns a big, huge park up there, and they close the park down for 7 days, and they bring out all these groups and all this food and all these vendors, and they get their rafts and their damn tubes, and they go up the river and they float up and down the river for a couple of days. And Tom's a nice guy. He's fun to hang out with. Yeah, most it's weird. Real quick before we leave, it's weird. So the young illustrators are usually much more inverted than the young authors are. When I mean young, I mean winter-wise. Age is really well, because most of the illustrators are going to be in their late 30s to early 40s. That's the majority of them. Some are going to be older in the 60s and even in 70s, and some might be a little bit younger. But for most of the part, the authors that win are more closer to in their mid 30s to mid 40s. That's just where they're. It's the ones I've met personally, and they seem to be very outgoing. And when you get them on air, they talk very well. Artists, on the other hand, don't. They seem to be very inverted. You got to pull a lot of conversation out of them, and a lot of them seem to be under the age of 30, which makes them automatically more scary because they haven't had that much life experience. But when you get into when they're older, that flip-flops. When you get older, the artists become much more outgoing, and the authors become much more inverted. I have no idea. But this 4 years has proven it to me without a doubt. I've seen enough of. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Tim Powers is very outgoing. And he'll always have a Coca-Cola can in his hand.
I was just going to say that. I've never seen one human being consume more Coca-Cola in an hour than Tim. And there's I guess a reason he has that energy.
So what do you mean? Oh, you're talking about, yes, we have talked about him throwing the stuff down the stairs. So
they do that.
They really did it. No, they really threw the shit down the stairs. No, I'm not kidding you. So I think the first time I was there, they didn't actually do it that way, but they talked about it. This year. They just chunked them down the stairs. I think they did last year too. And then they went and picked up the stories they were going to talk about. No, it's just because first off, there's 12 winners there. They can't talk about every story. It'd take too long. And they really want to give solid advice on the stories for the writers that are there. So they just pick them out and they go through them, and then they harass those writers, for that amount of time. Not in a bad way, no. They want you to be a good writer. Look, all of those judges want to see your name in lights in the future. They want to be able to say, hey, I know that guy. I helped him out. Or, who, Jody Lynn? Right now, currently, Jody Lynn, out of all the judges I've interviewed, is doing the best on the network. I don't know why. It was a fun interview we did. It was kind of funny. I don't know. You'd have to go see. Echo does pretty good, too, because Echo is bad. She's another bad influence. Oh, yeah. Echo and Larry are bad influences on me. So is Tom. I'm blaming all three of them. They're all bad influences. I got a lot with the illustrators. All I can say is they're evil. No, everybody before anybody writes to me, no, they're all very nice people, and I've enjoyed all their company. I've had a good time with all of them, and the bar cons are fun and interesting. Don't go get plastered drunk, but you can talk to any of the judges. They get a little buzz. They'll talk about anything you want, and they're a lot of fun. And you don't always have to talk shop. You might want to know something about them. They'll talk about themselves. Don't get too personal, but you can ask personal questions. Well, it's different for me because I'm there to be a pain in the ass. Yes, I've got all kind of information on all of them now. Oh, I've spent many hours talking to them.
Dossier.
A lot of it off. Yeah, dossier for sure. A lot of it's off the clock. Well, no, because I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to publish things people tell me in confidence now. I don't do that. And none of it's bad anyway, but still. It's like Kevin Anderson and Leslie Dean were talking about the drummer from Rush and him having stage 4 and all that stuff. And it was a very personal conversation that I was very privy to. Well, I can't get into the details of it, guys, but it was a good conversation. I was glad to be part of it. Well, I'm a Rush fan, so I'm not a total Rush fan, but I'm a Rush fan. Like maybe 2 songs, so I'm not a total fan. I don't, to be honest, and I don't know if this is true for Jason or not, but for me personally, I've never been like one group every song. I just that's not who I am.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of different music, and I've got a big family with a lot of different age groups in it. And, so from current to way back in the past and everything in between. So there's a lot of stuff I listen to. And, well, it's whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes it might be rock, sometimes it might be country, sometimes it might be rap. Well, okay, rap, probably about 2 dozen rap songs I like. That's about as far as I can go. Well, because I can't get past the cursing. If it's just rapping, I'm fine. But if I got to listen to FFF, I don't want to listen to that. I didn't want to listen to that when I was 20. I definitely don't want to listen to it now. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I can, you know what? I can say the F word pretty good. I was a Navy SEAL, buddy. What? I mean, Navy Special Forces. I said, you want to hear somebody
Stop
curse?
at Navy.
That's right.
Stop at Navy.
That's right. That's all you got to say. I can curse. Trust me on this. But when I first got in the radio, it was one of the hardest things for me, Jason, was because I was hosting on a different show, a show called Wake Up USA.
Okay.
And no cursing was allowed, and it was hard because I was young, and I was maybe 35 at the time, and I still had a lot of Navy stuff in my head. I'd have right in the middle of the show. Okay, Joe, don't do it. My very first show, I got in an argument with the guest.
Oh no!
Oh yes, a big nasty argument too. He started cursing. I mean, it's not to curse, but he started cursing. Ooh, man, he got mad at me. Larry Black was his name. It was hilariously funny is what it was. We do allow cursing on our network. It's just not a lot. We really the F and C words are the only 2 words you can't say. Yes. Don't write to me and ask me what the C word is. If you don't know what the C word is, then don't worry about it. Okay, just don't worry about it.
Leave it out.
Let's just leave it out. It's I'll tell you the truth. When you're dealing with the FCC, it's not so much about curse words. It's more about the way you phrase things. So I want to pet my little pussycat. Okay, that's fine. Now, if I just change 2 words in that sentence, I'm getting thrown off the air. So it's the way you phrase things. And trust me, you only get in trouble if somebody turns you in. They're not. It's not like communist Russia. They're not actually listening unless somehow or another you got on somebody's radar, and then they might be. You mean who? Rush Limbaugh? I didn't. To be honest with you, I probably heard 5 shows. But you know what, James? He was an avid reader. He loved to read. I heard him at. I was doing a lecture at the Washington Press Club, and he happened to be there. And we were having dinner with Edgar Mitchell and I was going to say Neil Armstrong, Edgar Mitchell and Buzz Aldrin, and we were having lunch with him, and we had a really good conversation. And he came over and sat down because, just like me, these 2 guys were heroes of his, and we were talking with the astronauts, and he got to talking, and he said Edgar said something about a book, and then the next hour was about what books they read. And this is before I was into it as much as I am now, so it was kind of hard on me, but still. He was a nice guy. It's just for who he was, he seemed pretty nice. But I didn't have really any interest in what he was saying, so it didn't matter to me. I was in a whole different thing back then. That particular day we would talk, and we had 2 senators show up, 5 or 6 House reps show up, and then a bunch of what do you call them? They work. They work for the different senators and the different House reps.
Staff.
Yeah, they would show up, and it would be all taking notes the whole night. See, now they want me to speak all the time since the YAP stuff came out. The UAP stuff coming, they're bugging the hell out of me to come speak, and I'm like, no, I don't think so, not right now. We own an organization called ICAR that's been doing, I guess you'd call it aerial phenomena research for 40 years. It's they take their research pretty serious too over there. But live and learn, see how it is. Jesse, we're going to get out of here. Jason's been a great guest. He's done a fabulous job. He got to hang out with me and John and Emily, and
that was awesome.
Yes, and he got to talk. Well, he got to talk a little bit because I like to talk. Wait, who? No. When he gets a new book, he's going to let me know, and as soon as he does, we'll put one up back here, and we'll tell you where you can find that. Maybe you'll do a Kickstarter, maybe it'll be self-published. Anyway,
Well, there is
it
a.
happens. Okay.
There is a book. I do have a story coming out in I can't say it because I'll mess up your contest, but in a book called Solar Flare, which is an anthology that should be out actually in July. And then I also have a story in Z&B Presents Volume 1. But I can't say from who because I'll mess up your contest. But
yeah. Well,
from my brother's publisher. So but they're on Amazon, so you can just go to Amazon and search for them. Solar Flare and Z&B Presents Year 1, I think it's called.
So, what do you mean? No, the winners are in, Jack. No, I'll go look in a little while. Yeah. No, I when I glanced through the email, it looked like the right answers to me. Good gosh, I'll put it in the subject title too instead of making me go look for it. It's they were paying attention for a change. When I look at them, you'll get an email from me probably tonight sometime, and then we'll set up. I'll get your contact information, and they usually go out on a Monday. So as long as you're not in Canada, you get them in 1 to 3 days. Oh no, I sent some to Canada. I sent 5 books to this girl in Canada that she won, and they went up there. They came back. Okay.
Oh.
Then they came back again, and then they refunded my money from FedEx. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? So I went to Ups. And I sent it from Ups. Ups said it was going to be $100. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. It's like, damn. I said, okay. So I sent it up there. It took 2 weeks to get up there. Come on. It's not like I was sending food or something perishable or something that might explode. It was books. But yeah. And then she told me when they got up there, the box had been opened at least twice. And I'm like, it's America mailing to Canada. This isn't America mailing to Cambodia people or Vietnam, or China mailing to us. Come on. Yes. This week when we do the other news show, we will talk about the Chinese spy base in Cuba and blah, blah, all of that wonderful stuff. No, we're not going to start World War III over a base in Cuba. No. We should kick them out, but we're not going to start World War III over it. No. Do you want to die because the Chinese got some half-ass listening post in Cuba? We got a damn military base down there.
That's true.
Yeah. We also got Guantanamo down there, people. Yeah, that's where we keep the prisoners at. And it's not even our island. Look, we're not getting into that either, but I'm just saying, y'all should write a story about Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, y'all all probably go to prison for that one. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. Jason, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I had a blast.
Yeah, me too. Thanks.
No, he can't win again, but y'all can. WritersOfTheFuture.com. That's right. Y'all can win. Mm-hmm. And you might get to see him there because a lot of times they invite winners back. And, when he gets to be a little more ancient, he might get to be a judge. Well, no, I think the judges are pretty ancient, with the exception of 3 of them. They're all pretty ancient. Yeah. I'm gonna get in trouble. I can already see it coming. I already got in trouble that night for saying something about John and Emily, so I behaved myself. It was kind of funny, something about who's the boss and who's working what.
Yeah.
No, they're great people. They really are, guys and girls. I love giving them trouble, but they're a lot of fun to hang out with. They're really hardworking. When you get there, that's all you see. Nobody stops.
Yeah.
You see, you'll see Emily just disappears because she's usually working on a GALA or something like that. Joni is just she's everywhere. And then poor Sarah, she's everywhere. And then you see Maliva, she's taking pictures all the time. She's nonstop. And she does a lot of other stuff behind the scenes, just like Jason does. So they're always running around. Then you've got Hilda that's over at the office. She's always doing something. Matter of fact, she does the opening thing on the GALA. It's just, I call her Hilda because she told me I could. Yes. Because I kept screwing up her first name. So she said, Joe, just call me Hilda. And, no, she's really nice. Everybody over there is really nice. It's scary nice. I'm telling y'all. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. One day I'm not gonna show up. Y'all know what happened if I didn't show up. No, they're just. I wish all y'all could win. Yes, I wish y'all could all get to meet them because it would give you a different understanding about who these people are. Because I get a lot of stupid questions, but they're just really nice people. They're hardworking, nice people. What do you mean? I try to feed Emily the whole time I'm there. When I got her up here in New Orleans, I fed her so much she gained like 5 pounds. Oh yeah, man. She was. I fed her. I took her some good places to eat. Oh yeah. Well, I live in New Orleans, people. There's everywhere's a good place to eat here. Uh-huh. Well, no, he's in Pittsburgh. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5 hosts, or 4 hosts now because one of them got fired. But we got 4 hosts in Pittsburgh, and it's kind of weird to have that many in one state, though. Yes, we do. Well, Sean's up there. Sean Kelly's up there. He's on. Well, he was on Chase Price. He's into the night now. Yeah. Which, matter of fact, I got to call him when I get off here. But anyway, we're gonna go, guys. Y'all behave. You're gonna get to hear a bunch of. No, you're not. We're not gonna do those tonight. Remember, People's Choice Podcast Awards. Go vote. Voting opens July 1st. Get your asses out there and vote. 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 You want to hear me whine the rest of the year? Get over there and vote. Actually, I've been in runners up for the last 4 years. I just want to win one of them. We were in science, but the little girl who does science, she's unbeatable. She is good. I vote for her. When I had my own show in there, I'd still vote for her. Yeah, because we had Science and Beyond there, but her show she is fabulous. No, she's fabulous. She does a great job. Great guest. She asked me one time how I got big guests because I've had Michio Kaku and the other guys, Tyson and Paul Levette, and some of the other ones big. The only one I haven't been able to get is Elon Musk because I can't get past the Queen Bee. The Queen Bee, he's got a blonde woman that works for him. She is tough to get by. Nothing gets by her. She's like Elon's bodyguard, buddy. No, I'm serious. She does not play. That's her job. It's like Michelle on this network. That's her job to take care of Elon and make sure business is doing what it's supposed to be. That's what she does. Now, y'all can watch it for yourself. There's several shows that show them when they were building SpaceX, how many disasters. They were quite honest, by the way. They showed shit blowing up, things going awry. They had no qualm showing you what really went down, which surprised me that they didn't try to hide some of the money they lost, but they didn't. They went ahead and showed it anyway. And there's another thing called Mars that Elon's in. It's some series where they go to Mars and they're living there. And from time to time, you hear these scientists doing the show. They're like little cut-in clips where the scientists are talking and they go back to the show. It's like a TV series. I can't remember that. I want to call it Mars, but it was something else. No, it's pretty good. It just showed how we're going to be, which, when you see all these, like Star Trek is great, but humans are not going to reach that level of niceness for, I don't know, 1,000 years or so. So things like Babylon 5 or things like what we're talking about with this Mars thing, these are more like us. We're going to be squabbling and bitching and griping and moaning as we get into deep space for quite some time. We're going to be arguing about politics on our own planet. And when we find aliens, we're going to be arguing with aliens about politics. We're just as a species, we're just not there yet. You know what, too? It's funny. For a while, it looked like we were headed there. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, the planet took a hard left. And here we are fighting again. Well, come on, guys. It's 2023. There shouldn't be no starvation on this planet. There should be no war on this planet. We should know better. Really and truly, we should all know better. Yes, well, unfortunately, I don't control the planet, so I can't tell anybody anything. I would make a lousy president anyway. You don't want me to be president. Oh, no. No, that'd be bad, no. First time Putin flew airplanes over Alaska, I'd say, really, dude? Is he home? Wait, watch this. Oh, shit, he's dead. Did a cruise missile just take out Putin? Oh, I don't know. There was an accident. I accidentally hit the button. It was an accident. I'm telling you. It was an accident.
That was the coffee button. What
do you mean I'd be like Barack Obama? Oh, yeah, he did shoot a lot of cruise missiles. All right. But so did Trump for that matter. So y'all can't just be hating on one. You got to hate on both. A lot of cruise missiles here. But we're not talking about that. We're getting out of here. Stop with all this BS tonight. Jason, again, you were fabulous tonight. We're going to get out of here. Guys and girls, stay tuned for Spaced Out Radio with Scott Bakula. No, I'm just teasing. He's not Scott Bakula. No, I was just teasing. No, I was teasing. And yes, I did hear he might come back to the New Quantum Leap for a visit, but that's it. No, it really is Spaced Out Radio. We come back, sure to check them out. They're on until 2 a.m. Give them a holler, check them out, see what they're up to. Say hi to everybody with the group over there. It's a bunch of good guys. They do a lot of good guests, too. They have a lot of good guests on. They do a 3-hour late night show. Their coast to coast is, well, they wish they were coast to coast competition, but they're getting there. On that note, good night and stay tuned for Spaced Out Crazy People. Good night, everybody.